Agus tá anna fáilte rómhig Parcu Breffni Rally. Good afternoon and welcome to Breffni Park for the Intermediate Championship final between Cuchulliann and Lacken. Down here in the centre of the field we have the referee Tomás McDermott and the two captains Jimmy Riley from Cuchulliann and Gabriel Keoghan from Lacken. The toss has been won by the Cuchulliann club. They have elected to play from left to right with the aid of the breeze in the first half towards the scoreboard end. Referee for today's game is Tomás McDermott, a very experienced official from the Cuchulliann club, has officiated up to the highest level. The only honour which has eluded him is the All-Ireland Championship final. The Cuchulliann team lines out as selected in the programme. In goal, Jimmy Riley, captain of the Cuchulliann side. Right cornerback, Mark Flanagan. Fullback, John Doughty. And left cornerback, Jimmy Murta. At right halfback, Peter Cooney. Centre halfback, Brian Daly. And left halfback, Martin Lynch. At midfield, wearing number 8, Ronan Carlin. And wearing number 9, Noel Donoghue. At right half forward, Terry Farley. Centre half forward, Ian Carlin. And left half forward, Fintan Cahill. At right corner forward, Jared McKenna. Full forward, Liam Doughty. And left corner forward, Ronan Cahill. Both teams going down to line up behind the Bonneau brass band for the pre-match parade. Lacken, they also line out as selected. In goal, Porrick Mulligan. Right cornerback, Mark McGahern. Fullback, Declan Briardy. And left cornerback, Mossy McCahill. Right halfback, Tony Smith. Centre halfback, Tommy Leddy. And left halfback, Joseph Crowe. At midfield, wearing number 8, Terry Hyland. And number 9, Shane McKiernan. Right half forward, Shane Leddy. Centre half forward and captain of the Lacken side, Gabriel Keoghan. And left half forward, Philip Crowe. At right corner forward, Francis Mulligan. Full forward, John Crowe. And left corner forward, Philip Smith. Lacken, an mixture of experience and youth. Experience in the form of Terry Hyland, number 8. Terry played yesterday, is the player manager. He played yesterday with the over 40s, capturing an All-Ireland title. One of the first since 1952 to come back here to the Breffni County. Terry, a great ambassador for cabin football throughout the years. Some of the younger players to watch out for there would be Gabriel Keoghan, Tommy Leddy, centre half back, and John Crowe at full forward. A very experienced player is John, brother of Georgie Crowe, who played for so long with Drummondley. On the Cuchulliann side, a very young, tenacious side, our full-back, John Doughty, a very big, strong chap. A great battle between himself and John Crowe. Green Daly, the centre half-back. How will he cope with the running of Gabriel Keoghan, a player who Gabriel is trying to drift all over the field? Will Brian Daly elect to follow him or just to hold the centre half-back position? At midfield, an awful lot of people throughout the county reckon that this is where the game will be won today by Cuchulliann. Their midfield partnership of Ronan Carlin and Noel Donoghue. Both county players. Ronan Carlin, a prolific scorer. Anyone who has been following the highest score in the championship so far this year will note that every Monday morning when you lift out the Independent and look at the scores throughout the county, Ronan Carlin is still up there despite Cavan having gone out at the championship so far with a 10-point contribution in Castleblaney this year. Ronan Carlin will be one to watch out for, a prolific free taker, and Lacken will be doing all they can to avoid giving away frees. Up front, they will be talking to Terry Farley, the young miner, and well, Fintan Cahill. What do we say about Fintan? Very strong runner with the ball. He will be hoping to carry the ball at the Lacken defence and create those free-taking opportunities for Ronan Carlin. Liam Doughty, he came on a full forward in the semi-final against Ballymacue, and he had a big bearing on the game. As the Cuchulliann's team split, they are from the signals before them after the throw-in. I thought that Cuchulliann's were playing from left to right. In fact, they're playing from right to left against the breeze as the little mascots make their way out off the field in the direction of Sean Finnegan rather. Sean, a very experienced player with Lacken, who played the goals, give great service to the club. He had a bad injury a couple of years ago and is no longer playing first team football. The players move into their places. The Bano brass band give us Around the Vein. So as the Bano brass band make their way over to the sideline to leave the field, referee Tomas McDermott, he preparing to get the game underway. Some 10 minutes behind the normal start time. Slight breeze from left to right, favouring the Lacken club. Terry Hyland playing with a very heavily strapped hamstring in the middle of the field. He sustained that in the semi-final here against Cothill. Referee Tomas McDermott gets the intermediate championship on the final on the way. Noel Donoghue first with the ball, breaks it down the field. Some pulling there on Mark McGahern by the corner forward Ronan Cahill, and it'll be a free out to the Lacken men. Taken by Mark McGahern. It's long out across the middle of the field, flicked down by Terry Hyland. The ball breaking in behind. The corner forward, Philip Smith, gone out to collect it. No, in fact, it's Frank Mulligan. He switched corners already. Gabriel Keoghan's kick in across goal goes out to the left and out wide. The first wide of the game to the Lacken men from the boot of Gabriel Keoghan. Switches in the Lacken full forward line. Philip Smith has gone to full forward. John Crow has gone to right corner with Frank Mulligan switching across to the left corner forward position. Jimmy Riley's kick out floating towards the halfway line. Flicked on over there by Peter Cooney. Some wild pulling there on Terry Farley, and it'll be free to the Cuchulliann's men, which will be taken by Ronan Carlin. Just inside his own half of the field, Fintan Cahill running all over the field. He's being followed very closely by Tony Smith. Fintan Cahill now operating on the right half forward line. The kick from Ronan Carlin, going to be cut out there by Joseph Crow. He kicks it long and very high. Noel Donoghue and Terry Hyland underneath it. The ball breaking. Terry Farley chasing it, as is the centre half back for Lacken. It's the wing half forward, Philip Crow, who gets it. The clearance blocked down. Eamon Carlin chasing it. It's going to be cleared by number 7 for Lacken, Joseph Crow. The ball back with Philip Crow. Philip Crow collecting it. Frank Mulligan playing it into John Crow. John Crow's shot, it's right footed. It goes to the right and out wide. A very bad miss there by John Crow from a very scoreable angle. He should have been putting Lacken into a 1-point lead. Instead, he kicked it to the right and it went wide. Rammer player down injured here in this half of the field. Referee Tomas McDermott going up to see what the matter is. It looks like Eamon Carlin, the centre half forward. He pulled on the ball down there. He seems to have come out the worst. Receiving some attention there from one of the Cuchulliann's mentors, the Cuchulliann's team manager, Cormac Cahill, now making his way in there. Cuchulliann's team manager back when the Eamon seems to be okay, hobbling a little, but he's back up on his feet, ready to join the action. Jimmy Riley, his second kick out from the edge of the small parallelogram. It's left-footed, floating out across the halfway line, the 45-metre line. Held there by Shane McKiernan. Shane McKiernan with the ball. He loses it. Ronan Carlin going to collect it. Ronan Carlin picking it up. It's fouled, and it'll be a free to Cuchulliann. Ronan Carlin comes at the kick. It's right-footed, looking for John Doughty. Eamon Carlin leaving it to John Doughty. John Doughty playing it back to Noel Donoghue on the burst through. Still Noel Donoghue plays it to Eamon Carlin. Eamon Carlin kicks rashly to the left, and he kicks it wide. Both sides guilty of very poor misses here in the early exchanges of the first half of the Intermediate Championship final. As Pádraig Mulligan makes his way to the edge of the small parallelogram the first time in the game. His kick is right-footed, going out towards the midfield sector. Ball breaking, going back there to collect his Brian Daly for Brian Daly. Plays it out. Ball kicked forward. Some holding off the ball there. Ball breaks to Eamon Carlin. Eamon Carlin kicks it right-footed. He kicks it high. It's gone out to the right and out wide. Some holding there off the ball. Tomas McDermott didn't spot it. He allowed play to go ahead. Eamon Carlin took the shot and went out to the right and went wide. Mulligan's kick out, breaking over the far side of the field. It's Shane Leddy. He is fouled. Ticked up forward. It's Philip Smith with it for Arva, for Lacken. He give it to Frank Mulligan. He shot low, it went to the left, and it went wide. So the wide slowly creeping up here for both sides. Lacken now with 3 wides, Cuchulliann with 2. No score in the game yet after 5 minutes of play. Jimmy Riley placing the ball. Taking a long run up to it. We'll be hoping to float this one into the breeze across the 45-metre line. It's left-footed. It's going all the way out across the 45. Broken by Ronan Carlin. The ball bobbing around. Gabriel Keoghan collects it. Plays it up. Gets Frank Mulligan in the corner yet again. Mulligan turns his marker. Still Frank Mulligan. He kicks it right-footed. Held on the line by Jimmy Riley in the goals for Cuchulliann. He solos out slowly and kicks it left-footed out this side of the field. The ball going as far as Martin Lynch. He's gone out over the sideline. It'll be a line ball to Lacken, which will be taken out here, I think, by Terry Hyland. Terry Hyland coming out, a very experienced player. Kicks it right-footed and high in the direction of goal. Underneath it is Philip Smith. The ball breaking out along the end line, gone out over the end line for a 45-metre kick, and it'll be taken out here, I think, by Gabriel Keoghan. Gabriel Keoghan, captain of the Lacken team, coming out to take the resultant 45, which broke off John Doughty in there. Linesman Seamus Galligan marks the spot where the ball has to be placed. Lacken with a very convincing win over Cotil in the semi-final here. Kicked right-footed by Gabriel. Ball floating, bobbing around in there. John Doughty comes out with it and clears it out along the line. Going after it is Brian Daly for Cuchulliann. Brian Daly collects it. Kicks it left-footed down the sideline. Chasing to it is Fintan Cahill. Ball breaking, goes to Martin Lynch. Martin Lynch to Eamon Carlin. Eamon Carlin with the ball. His jersey being tugged. Still Eamon Carlin to Noel Donoghue. Noel Donoghue loses control of the ball. Goes back. Has to retrieve it. Still Noel Donoghue with the ball. Loses it. Goes to as far as Ronan Carlin. He's bursting through. He's on the 21. He's on the 13. He shoots and the ball's in the back of the net. Ronan Carlin, the midfielder, coming running through. He picked up the ball. His fitness and speed broke through the tackle from 2 Lacken players. He found himself on the 21-metre line in space. He kept going to the 13. The advancing keeper, Pádraig Mulligan, was given no chance by the low shot from Ronan Carlin to the back of the net. Cuchulliann's 1 goal, Lacken no score. After 7 minutes of play in the first half, the ball with Gabriel Keoghan in the middle of the field. Keoghan solos, kicks it right-footed and very high, looking for John Crow in there. The ball breaking, goes as far as Philip Smith. Philip Smith surrounds the attentions of John Doughty. Still Philip Smith, he kicks it right-footed, right low across goal. Been cut out there by the cornerback Martin Flanagan. Flanagan plays it over the far side of the field to Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin plays it long up the far side. Collecting it up there is Jerry McKenna. Jerry McKenna playing it long into Eamon Carlin. Eamon Carlin soloing in behind the whole defence. He's on the 20-metre line. He kicks it right-footed. He kicks it to the right and he kicks it wide. Cuchulliann with 3 wides. Lacken with 3 wides. Cuchulliann's lead by that goal from the boot of Ronan Carlin, the midfield player. Pádraig Mulligan's kick out crosses the halfway line, broken there by Noel Donoghue. Eamon Carlin collects it, gives it to Fintan Cahill. Still Fintan Cahill, he kicks it right foot. It's going to drop short as far as Pádraig Mulligan in goal. Pádraig Mulligan is kicked blocked down by Liam Doughty. Still Doughty inside the large parallelogram. He releases the ball. It's cleared, scrambling. It's in the back of the net. This time it looks like Terry Farley, the young miner. The clearance from Pádraig Mulligan, the goalkeeper, was blocked down. The shot again came off his feet. I think that was from Liam Doughty. It broke free to Terry Farley and the young miner stuck the ball in the back of the net. And Cuchulliann's like the Cork Miners last year. Their first 2 scorers of the game are 2 goals. They lead by 6 points. Pádraig Mulligan's kick out, floating towards the halfway line. There's some pushing there by Noel Donoghue on Terry Hyland, and Terry Hyland takes the resultant free, looking for Francie Mulligan. The ball breaking, goes to Philip Smith. Philip Smith with the ball, he turns onto his right foot. Had the chance to shoot, he now has another chance. He's taken it and it's gone over the bar. And that's a fine reply from Philip Smith. Yes, a nice score. He had 2 opportunities of shooting. He took the second one, he tapped it over the bar. And that reduces the deficit, just 5 points between the sides. Cuchulliann still lead 2 goals to Lacken's 1 point. Martin Flanagan to take the kick out. It's right-footed, dropping short this side of the field. Noel Donoghue comes out and collects it, takes the clean shoulder very well and delivers the pass up in the direction of Liam Doughty. It's cut out down there. It looks like Martin Lynch. Martin Lynch with it now for Lacken. He's going out the field. He's fouled by Terry Farley. Martin Lynch takes the resultant free, finds Francie Mulligan. Mulligan with the ball. He hops it, solos. Still Mulligan on the 45-metre line. His kick blocked down by Peter Cooney and cleared out the far side of the field. Terry Farley collecting it there, the young minor chap from Cuchulliann's. He plays it across field, looking for Fintan Cahill. Cahill collects it, feeds it back to Ronan Carlin, coming busting through the middle. Still Ronan Carlin going through. He's pulled down and it's a free into Cuchulliann's, which will be taken, I'm sure, by Ronan Carlin himself. Some 13 metres from the goal, dead straight in front of the goal. Ronan Carlin selecting to bring the ball slightly back out. He's now placing it just inside the 20-metre line, dead straight in front of the goal. Carlin's kick has gone over the bar. From a free, Cuchulliann's 2 goals and 1 point. That's a total of 7 to Lacken's 1 point. 6 point lead for Cuchulliann's. Pádraig Mulligan places the ball on the 20-metre line for the 3rd time in the game. Almost 12 minutes of the first half of the Intermediate Championship final gone. Pádraig Mulligan's kick out, crosses the midfield line, well broken by Noel Donoghue. Eamon Carlin is first to react. There's plenty of space in front of him. He selects to give it to Fintan Cahill. Cahill shoots, it's saved on the edge of the small parallelogram by Pádraig Mulligan. Cahill would have been better to put that one over the bar. Mulligan's kick out, cleared, a free to Terry Hyland, taken quickly. Goes as far as Philip Crowe. Philip Crowe with the ball. He is fouled and it'll be a free to... In fact, it wasn't Philip Crowe, it was Shane Leddy, the other wing half forward. He has switched wings to quick free by Gabriel Keoghan. Cut out down there by Martin Flanagan. He's fouled and it'll be a free out to be taken quickly by Peter Cooney. Peter Cooney kicks it right-footed, chasing his Eamon Carlin. He's playing well on the 40. The fist pass intended for Noel Donoghue. It went slightly astray, cut out. The quick free by the centre half-back, Tommy Leddy, as far as Martin Lynch. Martin Lynch from the halfway line kicks it, looking for Philip Smith. Cut out down there by Martin Lynch for Cuchulliann. Martin Lynch plays it back to Peter Cooney, and Cooney kicks it right-footed over the far side of the field, looking for Terry Farley. Terry Farley operating on the 40. He's rambling all over the field. His kick, half blocked down, goes to Ronan Carlin. His kick is left-footed and very, very high, screwed off of the outside of his boot. Terry Hyland underneath it. The ball breaks behind him, goes as far as Tony Smith. Tony Smith with loads of time collects it and places his kick as far as Shane Leddy. Shane Leddy with the ball. He kicks it right-footed in the direction of John Crow. Crow collects it. Crow rounds his marker. Fine play by Crow. The pass was very high. As far as Shane Leddy, it goes out to the right and it goes wide. Jimmy Riley retrieving the ball, making his way to the edge of the small parallelogram for the 4th time. Jimmy Riley's kick out, left-footed. Drop short. Peter Cooney's there for Cuchulliann. He kicks it up the field. Joseph Crow fouled as he went to collect that. Joseph Crow has gone in on the centre half back to mark Eamon Carlin. Francie Mulligan now at the ball. The corner forward for Lacken. He turns and kicks it right-footed. This one's very high. John Doughty and Philip Smith underneath it. John Doughty fields it cleanly and clicks it right-footed up the far side of the field. He's looking for Terry Farley. He finds him. He releases the ball in the direction of Peter Cooney. Cooney loses it, goes as far as Terry Farley. Farley plays it back to Ronan Carlin, and Ronan Carlin kicks it right-footed. A long relieving clearance from Ronan Carlin. The ball breaking. Liam Doughty inside. His pass goes as far as Jerry McKenna. McKenna turns. He shoots. It's right-footed. It's high. It's gone over the bar. No, it hasn't. It's gone to the left and gone wide. From here, it looked as if it had turned in at the last minute. The umpire, he was just directly underneath the post. He had a good long look, and then he came out and signalled it wide. 15 minutes gone in the first half. Porrick Mulligan placing the ball on the edge of the small parallelogram. Right-footed kick coming out across the 45-metre line, broken by Fintan Cahill. A good break. Liam Doughty's first to react for Cuchulliann to Noel Donoghue. A fine layoff to Donoghue. Donoghue takes a shot. He kicks it over the bar, but the referee, Tomas McDermott, had already blown the whistle for the free. Pulling on Noel Donoghue as he went through. It's a free into the Mullamen, which will be taken by Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin's kick, it's right-footed, it's high, it's gone over the bar. Ronan Carlin, 2nd point from a free, bringing his total to 1-2. Cuchulliann's moving to a 2-2 to a 1-point lead. With little over a quarter of an hour gone in the first half. Cuchulliann still look very, very dangerous on the burst through from the midfield and the half forwards. The kick out broken down in the middle of the field by Noel Donoghue. Fintan Cahill going to pick it up. He is fouled as he went to do so, and it'll be a free into the Mullamen. Fintan Cahill, I know, is there with 2 fingers strapped together. I did hear that he had one broken during the semi-final against Ballymacue, and that was well, what some people saw as the winning and the losing of the championship for in that semi-final. Cuchulliann came through this year. Last year they were beaten, and there it is. Jared McKenna, he has collected the resultant free and turned and shot it over the bar from a very acute angle. That's makes up for the one from the far side. This one from the underneath on the stand side, he turned onto his right foot and shot it over the bar. Cuchulliann's 2-3, that's a total of 9 points to Lacken's 1 point. As Porrick Mulligan kicks it right-footed out the middle. Eamon Noel Donoghue to Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin going through on the 20-metre line. He shoots right-footed. It comes back off the upright. And first to react is Gabriel Keoghan for Lacken. There was no need for Ronan to hit it so far hard. All he had to do was tap it over the bar. Meanwhile, the ball is with Noel Donoghue. Noel Donoghue with the ball. He's adjudged to have overplayed it, and it'll be a free out to the Lacken men, which should be taken, I'd say, by Joseph Crowe. Joseph Crowe now operating at centre half back. Started it at left half. John Crowe, the ball breaking away from him, goes as far as Martin Lynch. Martin Lynch with the ball. A foot trip on Martin Lynch, and it'll be a free to Cuchulliann, which I'm sure Martin Lynch will take himself from the hands. Taken quickly to Fintan Cahill. Fintan Cahill turns and kicks a right footed and high in the direction of goal, bobbing around, corner back there. Mossy McCahill coming out with it, plays it to Mark McGahern. Still Mark McGahern with the ball, coming soloing over this side of the field. McGahern kicks it right footed. His kick is blocked down by Jared McKenna, and it'll be a free line ball to Lacken, taken quickly by Mark McGahern to Gabriel Keoghan. Gabriel Keoghan hops the ball. Still Gabriel Keoghan going soloing. He kicks it right footed in across goal. Peter Cooney underneath with the ball breaking, goes back as far as Jimmy Murta. Jimmy Murta fist passes it out to Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin gets it further out the field. Chasing it over there is the cornerback Martin Flanagan. Flanagan with the ball, gets around the tackle of two men, turns and kicks it right footed but very high up the far side of the field. Terry Hyland underneath it. Some jumping in there by Eamon Carlin. Free for Terry Hyland. Far side of the field, about 10 metres outside the Lacken 45-metre line. Right foot kick by Terry up the field, held there by Brian Daly. Brian Daly for Cuchulliann releases it to Peter Cooney. He kicks it right footed. Ronan Cahill underneath it for Cuchulliann. He fails to collect it. Mark McGahern does for Lacken. Still Mark McGahern plays it back to his wing half-back Tony Smith. He plays it up the field. The ball breaking, goes as far as Martin Lynch. Martin Lynch, very sensible player, plays it back to John Doughty. John Doughty out the field looking for Terry Farley. The ball breaking in behind. Jared McKenna chasing it. He gets a touch on it. Liam Doughty chasing it now for Cuchulliann to Ronan Cahill. The fancy pickup not working. Turns and kicks it right footed in the direction of the goalkeeper. Held on the line there by Pádraig Mulligan. He is fouled by Jared McKenna. It'll be a free out to Lacken. Taken by Pádraig Mulligan out through the middle, flicked on, goes as far as Gabriel Keoghan. He flicks it further on. Shane Leddy and Ronan Carlin chasing it. Ronan Carlin collects it. Still Ronan Carlin. He throws the ball to Jimmy Murta. It'll be a free to the Lacken men for an illegal pass by Ronan Carlin. Gabriel Keoghan to take the resultant free about 40 metres from the Cuchulliann's goal. Gabriel Keoghan's kick, it's right footed, it comes back off the post. First to react there is Peter Cooney for Cuchulliann. He kicks it, his kick blocked down over there by Shane Leddy. It goes as far as Francie Mulligan. Francie Mulligan threads his way through two players, plays it to Shane Leddy. A very poor pass, but it breaks kindly for John Crowe. John Crowe turns, he shoots right footed and high and over the bar. 2 points now for Lacken. To Cuchulliann's 9. Cuchulliann's 9 point contains 2 goals, which are the first 2 scores of the game. After 21 minutes of play in the first half, the quick kick out from Jimmy Riley. Intelligent play from Jimmy out to John Doughty. John Doughty to Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin being fouled from behind. Some holding there by Shane McKiernan, and it'll be a free to Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin now placing the ball, going to float this one in the direction of Cahill or Liam Doughty. In fact, no, he might take a short one. Indeed he does, as far as Fintan Cahill, but that doesn't work out. It goes as far as Joseph Crowe. Joseph Crowe kicks it right footed out this side of the field. Chasing it is Philip Crowe. Philip Crowe collects it, but he steps out over the sideline. It'll be a line ball for the Cuchulliann's men, which will be taken by Martin Lynch. Martin Lynch, he had such a game in the semi-final, a poor line ball as far as Shane McKiernan. McKiernan up to the field as far as Shane Leddy. Shane Leddy with the ball now for Lacken. Plays it to Francie Mulligan, the nippy corner forward. Still Francie Mulligan, been marked now by Peter Cooney. He gets it across the field to Gabriel Cogan. Gabriel Cogan collects the ball. Still Gabriel Cogan going through. He kicks it right-footed. He kicks it high and he kicks it over the bar. Good score from the captain of the Lacken team, Gabriel Cogan. Well worked from the far side of the field by Frank Mulligan. He held up play, picked out Gabriel Cogan, coming running through the middle. He shot high and over the bar. 6 points between the sides now. 2-3 for Cuchulliann's. That's a total of 9 to Lacken's 3 points. As Jimmy Riley prepares to take the kick out, his third from the 20-metre line. Noel Donoghue underneath it. Ball breaking, goes as far as Philip Smith. Philip Smith wins it. He kicks it right-footed up in the direction of John Crow. John Crow failing to control it. Jimmy Murta going back there for Cuchulliann's. Plays it back to John Dowhy. And John Dowhy turns and kicks it right-footed and long and high. Out through the middle. Terry Farley breaks it as far as Noel Donoghue. Noel Donoghue plays it in front of Liam Dowhy. The ball breaking. Liam Dowhy collects it. Plays it to Eamon Carlin to Noel Donoghue. Noel Donoghue shoots it. Goes off the cornerback. It's collected and held by Mark McGarren. Mark McGarren, good cornerback play. He came across to block down the shot of Noel Donoghue. Mark McGarren kicks it right-footed out as far as Philip Smith. Philip Smith has moved from full forward now out to the midfield sector. He's been left out there by John Dowhy. John Dowhy not following him. Francie Mulligan turning inside his marker, Peter Cooney. He is fouled and it'll be a free into the Lacken men. Cuchulliann's, they're on the burst through all the time there from midfield, shooting for goals from 21 and 13-metre line. Possibly we would be a lot wiser to tap those over the bar. The old adage of football, take the points, the goals will come themselves. Cuchulliann's, they've been lucky. They've got 2 goals already. They're not satisfied, they want more. Meanwhile, Lacken just chipping away at the scoreline. There was 8 points between the sides. It's now down to 6. That free from Gabriel Cogan going out to the left and wide, and that was definitely a scoreable chance for Gabriel Cogan to reduce the deficit to 5 points. Instead, it's just increased the wide tally to 5. Jimmy Riley's kick out, left-footed, floating out the far side of the field. The ball breaking, goes as far as Shane Leddy. Shane Leddy with the ball, he's soloing. Goes round Peter Cooney. Shane Leddy to Francie Mulligan. No, doesn't break from John Doughty. Cuts it out and fist passes it out the far side of the field to Martin Flanagan. And Cuchulliann's could say they were lucky there because Mulligan was behind the whole defence. Eamon Carlin's clearance out. Cut out by Philip Smith. He's roving out, playing sort of between midfield and his own half-back line. The ball up the side of the field. Martin Lynch and Philip Crow chasing it. The ball going out over the sideline. But the referee awarding a free to Philip Crow, which should be taken by Gabriel Cogan. Gabriel Cogan finds Francie Mulligan. Francie Mulligan with the ball. He solos, goes round his marker. Still Francie Mulligan plays it inside. The advantage allowed. It goes to Joseph Crow. He kicks it right-footed. He kicks it to the left and he kicks it wide. Four minutes of the first half remaining here in Breffni Park in the Intermediate Championship Final. Cuchulliann's the lead by 2-3 to 3 points. That's a 6-point lead for Cuchulliann's. Lacken with 6 wides, Cuchulliann's with 3. Jimmy Riley, 6 kick out from the edge of the small parallelogram. It's left footer going out the far side of the field. Broken by Ronan Carlin to Martin Flanagan. Flanagan's clearance down this side of the field. Fintan Cahill collecting it. Fintan Cahill goes round the tackle of Philip Smith. Still Fintan Cahill. Plays it to Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin going bursting through. He kicks it right-footed. He kicks it high. He kicks it all the way over the bar. And the boot of Ronan Carlin, bringing his total to 1-3. Cuchulliann's could have had a lot more of those scores. Ronan Carlin showing his experience at inter-county level, settling things down instead of shooting and going forward to shoot for goal. He selected to top that one over the bar. A very wise decision by Ronan Carlin. Pádraig Mulligan coming with the kick out. It's right-footed, floating out the far side of the field. Terry Farley collects it, lays it off beautifully to Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin looking for Liam Doughty, but cut out there by the fullback, Declan Brierty. The ball coming up this side of the field. Philip Crowe underneath it along with Martin Lynch. Crowe collects it. Still Philip Crowe. He is fouled and it'll be free into the Lacken men. Back out here about 45 metres from the Cuchulliann's goal, 5 metres in from the stand sideline. Philip Crowe going to take this one himself from his hands. He kicks it right footed, looking for Francie Mulligan over there all the time. Everything seems to be being channeled through him. Peter Cooney marking him. Still Francie Mulligan, Ronan Carlin buying the dummy. Mulligan takes the shot, it goes to the left and it goes wide. And the Lacken wides massing up, now a total of 7 wides. Cuchulliann's with 3. Cuchulliann's, they lead by 7 points, 2-4 to Lacken's 3 points. 2 minutes of normal time remaining in the first half here in Breffni Park. Jimmy Riley's kick out, breaking over the far side of the field. Peter Cooney getting a touch on it, does the Martin Flanagan. Ball breaks to Gabriel Keoghan, to Shane McKiernan. Shane McKiernan shoots, right-footed and high, to the right and wide. The kick out to Jimmy Murta at this side of the field, looks for Fintan Cahill. The ball breaking goes to Martin Lynch. Martin Lynch turns and kicks it right-footed up this side of the field, looking for Ronan Cahill. The ball hopping away from him, goes as far as Tony Smith. Tony Smith to Gabriel Keoghan. Gabriel Keoghan with the ball. Keoghan hops the ball, turns, kicks it right-footed, blocked down by Ronan Cahill. The ball now with Ronan Carlin as he crosses the halfway line. Still Ronan Carlin lays it off to Noel Donoghue. Noel Donoghue with the ball, kicks it right-footed. He kicks it high. He's put it over the bar. A fine score there by Noel Donoghue on the run, but a very high and late tackle on Ronan Carlin after he played the ball from a wing half back. After Ronan Carlin laid the ball off to Noel Donoghue in a fine sweeping movement, the wing half back came forward to check him with his shoulder into the chest. I think it looked like number 5 from here. Yes, linesman Seamus Galligan spotting the culprit. Now referee Tomas McDermott going in to have a word with number 5 from Lacken, Tony Smith, for a late dangerous tackle on Ronan Carlin at full flight. He's been booked. Slight caution there from referee Tomas McDermott. As we enter into injury time here in the first half of the Cavan Intermediate Championship final in Breffni Park, Cuchulliann's, they lead by 2-5 to Lacken's 3 points. That's an 8-point lead. Ronan Carlin is back up on his feet as Pádraig Mulligan prepares to take the kick out from the 20-metre line. Mulligan's kick out to the middle, broken by Ronan Carlin. Ball bobbing around, goes as far as Terry Hyland. He turns and kicks it right-footed, looking for Shane Leddy. Fails to go to him. Martin Flanagan clearing it out this side of the field to Ronan Cahill. Or Fintan Cahill, rather. He crosses the halfway line. Great burst of speed from young Cahill. Still Fintan Cahill on the 20-metre line. He's running into trouble. Plays it back out to his brother Ronan. He turns, he shoots. It's right-footed, going to drop short. Underneath it is Terry Hyland and Noel Donoghue. Noel Donoghue coming down with the ball. Still Donoghue turns, hops it, turns, kicks it, right-footed. And that was definitely a piece of play deserving of a score. Some fine fielding in there on the edge of the large parallelogram by Noel Donoghue. He came down in a crowd of players. He did the presence of mind to hop the ball, make a little bit of space, and then turned onto a right foot and kicked it high and over the bar. Cuchulliann's 2-6, that's a total of 12 to Lacken's 3 points. That's a 9-point lead for Cuchulliann's. We have played a minute of injury time in the first half of the Cavan Intermediate Championship final. The referee Tomas McDermott says there'll be time for no more. Cuchullianns go in leading by 9 points on a scoreline of 2-6 for Cuchullianns, 3 points for Lacken. And it will be interesting to see what changes Lacken will make at half-time to try and counteract the strong running of the Cuchullianns midfield duo of Noel Donoghue and Ronan Carlin. So as we await the second half, we bid you farewell from Breffni Park. Out on the field for the start of the second half, yet to commence. There's a Cuchullianns player down injured already on the 45-metre line, and didn't see what happened to him. It looks like their centre-half back, Brian Daly. There are some changes in the Lacken team. Number 17, Jerry Delaney, is in the wing half forward in place of Shane Leddy. So Brian Daly receiving some treatment. He's back up on his feet. He seems to be okay. Everybody falling back into position. So it's Brian Daly on Gabriel Keoghan. Referee Tomas McDermott. Poised and ready in the middle of the field. The second half is underway. It's broken by Ronan Carlin as far as Noel Donoghue. Noel Donoghue turns and kicks it right-footed with the aid of the breeze down towards the scoreboard end to Ronan Cahill. Ronan Cahill with loads of space turns right-footed. It's high, it goes to the left and it goes wide. Pádraig Mulligan, his first kick out from the edge of the small parallelogram. In the second half, it's right-footed towards the halfway line into the strong breeze. The ball breaking, bobbing around. Fintan Cahill collecting it. He's fouled over there on the far side of the field. It'll be a free into Cuchullianns, which will be taken, I'm sure, by Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin placing the ball about 35 metres from the Lacken goal, 10-15 metres in from the far sideline. Kicking with the aid of a small breeze. into the scoreboard end. Cuchullian's they lead by 2-6 to 3 points. That's a 9-point lead for Cuchullian's. The men from Mulla. Carlin's kick, it's right-footed, it's high, it's gone to the left, and it's gone wide. Cuchullian's winning the midfield battle in the first half. There's some changes there with Joseph Crowe now gone into midfield to mark Noel Donoghue, with Terry Hyland reverting back to a centre half back position on Eamon Carlin. Patrick Mulligan's kick out, floating, held, no, broken by Fintan Cahill, chipped in by Ronan Carlin. The ball broken, goes as far as number 16, Luke Riley, also a substitute. Luke Riley in a wing half back. The ball with Mark McGahern on the far side of the field. Mark McGahern kicks it right foot up to John Crowe. John Crowe with the ball. Still Crowe hops it. Passes it out as far as Shane McKiernan. Shane McKiernan turns, kicks it right-footed. He kicks it high. It's going to the left. It's not going to go wide. It's broken out by Peter Cooney as far as Martin Flanagan. Martin Flanagan out to John Dowhy, the fullback. Dowhy plays it up the field. Eamon Carlin collecting it. Lays it off beautifully to Terry Farley. Terry Farley with the ball, crossing the 45-metre line. Still Terry Farley plays it into Noel Donoghue. Noel Donoghue turns. He shoots. It's gone right-footed. It's gone high, but it's gone over the bar. Bringing Noel Donoghue's total to 3 points. And something I know is creeping into the Lacken team. Some after the pass is delivered, continuing with the challenge and sort of checking the player from going further into the movement. Taking him out. Pádraig Mulligan coming with the kick. Dropping short to Joseph Crowe. Joseph Crowe out to Gabriel Keoghan. Gabriel Keoghan with the ball. What then Lacken do to reduce this 10-point deficit? Martin Flanagan kicks it right-footed up the field. The ball breaking. Eamon Carlin's first to react as to where it's gone. He crosses the 45-metre line. Still Eamon Carlin turns onto his right foot. It's right-footed. It's high. It's going to drop short. The goalkeeper Pádraig Mulligan out underneath it. Comes off the head of Jimmy Mert. It's chipped over the bar by Ronan Carlin. Yes, came off the head of Jerry McKenna. It broke back out and Ronan Cahill tipped it over the bar. The corner forward pulled on the ball on the ground on the 13-metre line. It went over the bar. And Cuchullian's go further ahead. Patrick Mulligan's kick out, coming out towards the middle of the field. Ball breaking. Gabriel Keoghan collects it for Lacken. He hops the ball, comes out towards the sideline, kicks it left-footed up the side of the field, goes out over the sideline. Line ball for Cuchullian's, which will be taken by Peter Cooney. Peter Cooney coming with the ball, kicks it right-footed and high. Underneath to his Terry Hyland for Lacken. The ball flicked back in. Fintan Cahill is first to get to it. Goes to Mark McGahern though for Lacken. Plays it out to Luke Riley. Luke Riley with the ball. He plays out across the head to Joseph Crowe. No, in fact it's Tommy Leddy. Tommy Leddy plays it up the field to Philip Crowe. He loses it, goes as far as Shane McKiernan. Back to Philip Crowe. Crowe turns and kicks it right-footed up the far side of the field. The Lacken player slipping as he went for it. It goes to Breen Daly. Breen Daly delivers a long telling clearance down in front of Liam Dowhy. Liam Dowhy with the ball. Plays it right-footed across the field. It goes as far as Thomas Leddy. Thomas Leddy for Lacken. Plays it out the field. Shane McKiernan for Lacken on the 45-metre line. Kicks it right-footed up across the halfway line. Cut out down there by Martin Flanagan. Martin Flanagan playing it out to Ronan Cahill. Ronan Cahill on the halfway line, carrying the ball. Still Ronan Cahill crossing the 45-metre line. Plays a fisted pass in front of Noel Donoghue. Still Noel Donoghue with the ball. Loses it momentarily. Gets it back again. His pass out goes to Terry Hyland. Terry Hyland is fouled by Ronan Cahill, and it'll be a free out to the Lacken men, which should be taken by Terry Hyland himself. Terry Hyland's free out the far side of the field. He picks up Joseph Crowe unmarked. Still Joseph Crowe coming solo in with the ball. Approaches the halfway line, tackled by Ronan Carlin. Ball going out over the sideline, far side of the field. It'll be a line ball to Cuchullian's. 6 minutes gone in the second half of the Intermediate Championship final. Cuchulliann still lead 2-8 to 3 points. The ball going off the knees of Ronan Cahill over the far side of the field. He has it. He has stepped out over the sideline. It'll be a line ball to Lacken on the far side of the field, which will be taken over there by Tony Smith. Tony Smith takes it quickly. Cut out by Ronan Carlin. It was intended for Gabriel Keoghan. Ronan Carlin clears it long down the field. Underneath to his Thomas Leddy. The ball breaks, goes to Eamon Carlin. Eamon Carlin for Cuchulliann. Ball bobbing around there. Cleared out the field as far as Shane McKernan. Shane McKernan to Joseph Crowe. Joseph Crowe kicks it right-footed and high in the direction of Philip Smith. The ball breaking behind the defence. Jimmy Murta is first to react for Cuchulliann. He is fouled as he went to pick up the ball. Plays it short out to Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin to John Dowhy. John Dowhy crossing the 45-metre line. The big full-back. He kicks it right-footed up as far as Terry Hyland. Terry Hyland kicks it right-footed over the far side of the field. A pass intended for Gabriel Keoghan, slipping as he went for it. He goes back to retrieve it. Crosses the halfway line and kicks it right-footed and high in the direction of Philip Smith. Philip Smith, the ball broken down by John Dowhy. The ball bobbing around on the ground. It goes as far as Jimmy Murta. Murta clears it out the far side of the field to Brian Daly. Brian Daly out down a long ball as far as Eamon Carlin. Eamon Carlin collecting it. Hops the ball. Plays it in front of Liam Dowhy. Liam Dowhy collecting it at the second attempt. Still Liam Dowhy. Plays it out to Fintan Cahill. Fintan Cahill with the ball. He hops it. Solos. Goes round his marker. Evades the challenge of Terry Hyland, plays it to his brother Ronan. Ronan with the ball, turns, kicks it, his kick half blocked down. The ball breaking in behind the whole defence goes as far as Patrick Mulligan. Patrick Mulligan out to the full-back, Declan Briarty. Briarty clears it long down the far side of the field. Philip Crowe chasing it has indeed is Breen Daly. Breen Daly nudges the ball around the advance and Philip Crowe collects it and clears it right-footed or left-footed up the far side of the field to Eamon Carlin. Eamon Carlin playing it in front of Ronan Cahill. The ball with Mark McGahern. Mark McGahern now for Lacken to Shane McKernan. Shane McKernan with the ball. He hops it. A long kick down as far as John Crowe. The ball breaks away from him, goes to Breen Daly. Breen Daly plays it out down the far side of the field to Eamon Carlin. Eamon Carlin with the ball. Still Carlin hops it, goes round his marker and clears it long in the direction of Liam Dowhy. The ball held there by Declan Briarty. He turns, kicks it right-footed and high. Ronan Carlin underneath it unmarked. He's now been tackled over there by Gabriel Keoghan. Ronan Carlin gets round the attentions of him. Plays it back into Fintan Cahill. Fintan Cahill arounds Terry Hyland. Turns, kicks it right-footed, kicks it high, kicks it to the left and kicks it wide. 3 wides now for Cuchulliann in the second half, bringing their total to 6 wides in the match altogether. They lead by 2-8 to Lacken's 3 points. And this second half starting off rather dull. Gabriel Keoghan is now down injured out on the halfway line. The kick out from Patrick Mulligan. Referee says he was acting. The ball now with Joseph Crowe. He kicks it right-footed on the far side of the field, out over the sideline, line ball, far side of the field. Which will be taken over there, I'd say, by Jimmy Murta. No, he's going to leave this one to Ronan Carlin. Coming back to take it. It's right-footed from Ronan. Held there by Shane McKernan. Shane McKernan for Lacken. He is fouled and it'll be a free out to the Lacken men. He kicks it right foot this side of the field, looking for Gary Delaney. The ball breaking goes to Noel Donoghue. Noel Donoghue, a very intelligent pass as far as Jared McKenna. McKenna with the ball on 13-metre line. He kicks it right footed. He kicks it to the left and he kicks it wide as well. The kick out from Pádraig Mulligan, dropping on the 45-metre line. Shane McKernan is fouled. Takes the free, right foot, looking for John Crowe out to the line. Jimmy Murty will be first there. He turns, collects it, plays it back across the field to John Dowhy. John Dowhy rounds the attentions of Philip Smith. The poor clearance from John out this side of the field. The ball breaking, a foul there by Gary Delaney on... Was it Peter Cooney? No, it wasn't. It was Martin Flanagan. It'll be a free out to Cuchulliann as Cuchulliann introduced a substitute. Number 18, Mark McKenna, is coming on. Not quite sure who's going off. Looks like Ronan Cahill who is coming off. Yes, Ronan Cahill coming off, Mark McKenna coming in. He kicks the kick from Peter Cooney. It's right-footed, held in the middle of the field by Shane McKiernan. He's fouled as he comes out. It'll be a free out, kicked right-footed up in the direction of Philip Smith. He collects it first time. Rounds the tackle of John Dowie. Still Philip Smith going through. He kicks it right-footed. It goes to the left and it goes wide.
Team, number 18, Mark McKenna, replaces number 15, Ronan Cahill.
12 minutes of the second half gone here in Breffni Park for the Intermediate Championship final. Cuchulliann's the lead by 2-8 to 3 points. Jimmy Riley coming with the kick. It's left-footed, floating across the 45-metre line. The ball breaks. Terry Hyland going back to retrieve it. Ball bobbing around. Gabriel Keoghan gets it out this side of the field to Shane McKiernan. McKiernan turns and kicks it right footed in the direction of Francie Mulligan. Peter Cooney underneath it. Francie Mulligan wins it on the 13-metre line. He's fouled and it'll be a free into Lacken, taken quickly, trying to catch the goalkeeper off his line. He doesn't. Jimmy Murta is there. Jimmy Murta plays it to Martin Flanagan, out to Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin kicks it right footed, long up to the unmarked Eamon Carlin to Noel Donoghue on the break through the middle of the field. Still Noel Donoghue going through. He's approaching the 20-metre line. He kicks it right footed. He kicks it high. He kicks it over the bar. That's Noel Donoghue's 4th point from play here in this championship final, bringing the Cuchulliann's total to 2 goals and 9 points. Noel's personal tally to 4 points, all from play from the tall, athletic midfielder. Some of the crowd on the far side of the field and indeed on the stands starting to make their way towards the exits as the kick out comes from Pádraig Mulligan out across the halfway line to Joseph Crowe. Joseph Crowe with the ball. Still Crowe going battling forward, crosses the 45-metre line, tips the ball back out to Philip Smith. Philip Smith back to Gabriel Keoghan. Gabriel Keoghan kicks it right foot over this side of the field to Gary Delaney, to John Crowe, and a tremendous save there by Jimmy Riley, the advancing goalkeeper. The ball cleared out there as far as Martin Flanagan. Martin Flanagan with the ball. Fist passes it out to Martin Lynch. Martin Lynch with the ball. He plays it out to Flanagan again. Flanagan about to kick it. He is fouled and it'll be a free out to the Mullaman. But that tremendous save by the Cuchulliann's goalkeeper and captain Jimmy Riley as he advanced off his line to close down the shot from John Crowe from a very close in position. Martin Flanagan to take the resulting free kick. Right footed up the side of the field. Ball with Gabriel Keoghan to Gary Delaney. Gary Delaney with it. He kicks it right footed in the direction of Terry Hyland. Hyland with the ball, now operating a full forward. He's fouled by John Dowie, who taken quickly to Frankie Mulligan. Terry Hyland has sustained an injury. He's going to receive some attention as Cuchulliann's introduced a substitute. It looks like Martin Quinn. Martin Quinn coming on. That's one very popular man around Mulla. To judge by the tumultuous welcome here from the crowd, Mulla supporters on the stand. Martin Quinn coming in for Martin Flanagan.
Substitution on the Cuchulliann's team, number 17, Martin Quinn, replaces number 2, Martin Flanagan.
Terry Hyland still receiving treatment down here for a hand injury. He's back up on his feet again. Okay, making his way back in towards goal as Gabriel Keoghan prepares to line up the resultant free about 35 metres from the Cuchulliann's goal, 10 metres to the left. Gabriel's kick is right-footed, it's high, it's gone out to the left and out wide. Bringing the Lacken total of wides in the match today to 10. 2 of those coming in the second half. Cuchulliann's with a total of 4 wides for the match, 2 in each half. Jimmy Riley placing the ball on the edge of the small parallelogram, making his way back behind goals. To come with the kick out, it will be left-footed. Floating across the 45-metre line underneath his Ronan Carlin. The ball breaks, goes to Gary Delaney. He is fouled. Delaney takes the free quickly in high, looking, ball broken out. Goes to Mulligan. The ball breaking inside, and a free for some holding on John Doughty as Terry Hyland made his way towards the ball. John Doughty takes the free quickly, only goes as far as Philip Smith for Lacken. Rounds the attentions of Peter Cooney over there as adjudged to have overcarried the ball, and it'll be a free out to Cuchulliann's, which will be taken over there on the far side by Peter Cooney. Peter Cooney's kick is right-footed, floating towards the halfway line. Noel Donoghue underneath it, broken by Shane McKernan. Shane McKernan chasing after it. He is fouled by Terry Farley. It'll be a free into Lacken. Taken to as far as John Crow. John Crow kicks it. It's broken. Ball coming back off the crossbar. It falls into the hands of Jimmy Riley. Jimmy Riley advancing off his line. Terry Hyland got a touch on it. It came off the crossbar and fell straight back into the path of Jimmy Riley. A poor clearance over there by Brian Daly. Goes as far as Gabriel Keoghan. Gabriel Keoghan to John Crow. John Crow with the ball. He kicks it right-footed. He kicks it high. It's going to drop in into the square. Broken out by John Doughty. Chasing it after it is Peter Cooney. And Peter Cooney collects it. And can he relieve the danger? Yes, he can. But it's gone out over the sideline, and it'll be a line ball to Lacken, bringing the pressure straight back in on the Cuchulliann's defence. Philip Smith with the ball. He kicked it right-footed. It's gone over the bar, bringing his total to 2 points for the match, and Lacken total to 4. Jimmy Riley making his way to the 20-metre line for the first time in the second half. His 4th time in the game. Cuchulliann's having faded out of the match at midfield. Jimmy Riley's kick out. Held there by Gabriel Keoghan. Tremendous fielding by Gabriel Keoghan. He wins the free, kicks it right-footed and high in the direction of Terry Hyland. John Doughty letting the ball fall. Goes now to John Crow. John Crow has fisted the ball into the back of the net. No, in fact, he fisted it wide. And in fact, if John Crow had fisted the ball into the back of the net without it touching any other player, it would have been a free out, because that is not legal. You are allowed to fist the ball over the bar, all right, for a point score from a standing position, but not into the back of the net. Jimmy Riley coming with the kick out. It's left-footed, floating down the far side of the field. Ball breaking, Martin Lynch underneath it. He fails to pick it up. It goes as far as Brian Daly. Brian Daly turns onto the left foot and kicks it long down the field. Joseph Crow bringing the ball down, only into the path of Noel Donoghue. Joseph Crow carrying on up the field. Terry Hyland underneath it, the ball breaking. Going in the direction of Francie Mulligan. The ball goes as far as John Dowhy. John Dowhy coming out. He is fouled, and it'll be a free out to the Cuchulliann's man. Jimmy Riley going to take it. Yes, Noel Donoghue having sustained an injury down there. He's receiving some treatment from the Cuchulliann's mentors. Looks like a facial injury. As Jimmy Riley prepares to take the resultant free out. Cuchulliann's lead by 2-9 to Lacken's 4 points. That's an 11-point lead for the Cuchulliann's boys. Jimmy Riley. Left footed kick. Floating out across the middle. First to react is Gabriel Keoghan. Martin Flanagan, no, it's Jimmy Murtagh's first to react. He clears it out this side of the field as far as Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin fist passing the ball into the path of his brother Eamon. The solicitor from Kingscourt picks the ball up, turns round his marker. Still Eamon Carlin loses control momentarily, collects it up again, loses it out, goes as far as Joseph Crowe. Joseph Crowe clears it out this side of the field to Luke Riley. Luke Riley clears right footed out to Philip Smith. Philip Smith with the ball. He kicks it right footed long. Underneath it is John Crowe. The number of players, Martin Quinn. The ball with John Crowe. John Crowe for Lacken. Trying to avoid Jimmy Murtagh. It's kicked in right footed and high. John Dowhy underneath it. He's playing well in there, fullback. He collects the ball under pressure. Loses it to Terry Hyland. And another tremendous save by Jimmy Riley. The ball cleared across the goal line. Martin Quinn is first to react for Cuchulliann's. He collects it. Kicks it right footed up this side of the field to the unmarked Noel Donoghue. Good ball out of defence by Quinn. The ball up this side of the field with Tommy Lady. Tommy Lady as far as Joseph Crowe. Joseph Crowe with the ball. He hops it. Still Joseph Crowe. The ball going out over the sideline. Line ball for Lacken. Palmed out over the sideline by Terry Farley. Will be a line ball to be taken by Gabriel Keoghan. Gabriel Keoghan kicks it right footed and high. Underneath it is Philip Crowe. He loses it. It's clear down the field as far as Eamon Carlin. He releases it to Fintan Cahill. Fintan Cahill with the ball. Still round another marker. Fintan Cahill has passed it to Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin kicks it right footed. And that is a gem of a goal from Ronan Carlin from a standing position. The outside of the right boot. The goalkeeper, he never saw it into the top right hand corner of the net. And that is a classic from Ronan Carlin. He started the scoring in today's game with a goal. He's just added another one to his tally. It was a beaut off the outside of the right foot. A delightful pass from Fintan Cahill. He timed it to perfection. Carlin studied himself, picked his spot, and that's where he put it. The ball back in with Mark McKenna. Mark McKenna releases it to Fintan Cahill. Fintan Cahill with the ball. He turns, kicks it right footed and high. It's going to drop short. Underneath it is Liam Dowhy. Liam Dowhy gets a touch on the ball, but it goes out to the left and out wide. Cuchulliann's warming up another substitute. Number 20, it's Paul Carlin. Another brother of Ronan and Eamon preparing to enter into the fray. Jared McKenna moving out to a wing half forward position. It's Eamon Carlin who's coming off. So one Carlin brother replaces another. But Paul is going to play in the corner forward position. The ball broken down as far as Mark McKenna to Fintan Cahill. Fintan Cahill with the ball. He kicks it right footed. He kicks it high. He kicks it over the bar. That's Fintan Cahill's first score of the game, strangely enough. But he has tormented the Lacken defence with his strong, pacey running.
So with the Cuchulliann's team, number 20, Paul Carlin, replaced number 11, Eamon Carlin.
The quick kick out as far as Mark McGahern. Mark McGahern soloing with the ball, crosses the 45-metre line. Still Mark McGahern, he kicks it up the field. It's going to be cut out there by Brian Daly. Brian Daly plays it out to the far side of the field to Martin Lynch. Martin Lynch out to Mark McKenna. Mark McKenna is grounded on the far side of the field. It'll be a free to Cuchulliann's, which will be taken over there by Ronan Carlin. Long left. A little over 4 minutes of normal time remaining in the second half of this intermediate championship final here in Breffni Park. Cuchulliann's the lead, 3-10 to 4 points. The kick, it's long in direction of Paul Carlin. Paul Carlin collects it. Fist passes it back out as far as Terry Farley. Terry Farley kicks it left-footed to the left and wide. Cuchulliann's with 5 wides in the match. They've notched up 3-10 so far, as the crowd on the far side of the field and indeed on the stand here in front of us all start to head for the exit gates. This game is indeed, well, it's all over bar the final whistle. The kick out from Pádraig Mulligan, it's right-footed. Crossing the half 45-metre line, Philip Smith collects it for Lacken. He turns, kicks it right-footed. Going to be cut out by Jimmy Murtagh. Jimmy Murtagh out to Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin turns and kicks it right foot up in the direction of Thomas Leddy to Philip Smith. Philip Smith for Lacken. He kicks it right foot. Held there by Philip Crowe. Philip Crowe with the ball. He's gone soloing through. Throws it to Terry Hyland. Terry Hyland to John Crowe. It's back off the crossbar yet again. And Terry Hyland kicks it right footed and high to the left and wide. Well, I remember being at a match here between Armagh and Monaghan. Somebody said that the new Archbishop of Armagh, Dr. Cathal Daly, must have come down and blessed the goals. Well, I don't know what Jimmy Riley got done with those. It must have been Father Dan Gillogley. That crossbar has saved him on so many times there today. Gabriel Keoghan, the resultant free in the middle of the field to John Crowe. John Crowe with the ball, plays it to Terry Hyland. Terry Hyland with the ball, plays it back out to Philip Crowe, and the ball is in the back of the net. Philip Crowe shot from the 20-metre line. A drop kick from Philip. It went into the top corner of the net, and that was a good score for Lacken, but it's all come too late, I'm afraid. 3-10, that's a total of 19 points for Cuchulliann's, 1-4, a total of 7 for Lacken. It's a 12-point lead for Cuchulliann's with just 2 minutes of normal time remaining to be played. Peter Cooney coming with the kick out from the 20-metre line. It's right-footed, crosses the halfway line, held in there by Ronan Carlin to Mark McKenna to Fintan Cahill. Fintan Cahill with the ball. He turns onto his right foot. It's right-footed, it's high, it's gone to the right, it's gone wide. Pádraig Mulligan coming with the kick out, right-footed, floating across the halfway line, or 45-metre line, held there by Terry Farley. He's fouled by Gabriel Keoghan, and it'll be a free into Cuchulliann's, which will be taken by Ronan Carlin with just 1 minute of normal time remaining here in Breffni Park. Ronan Carlin free kick, it's right-footed, it's high, it's gone over the bar. Bringing Ronan Carlin's total to 2-4, 3 of those coming from frees. And 2 superbly well taken goals. One, the first score of the game, and then the last goal a few moments ago. It was right-footed into the top corner of the net. Pádraig Mulligan coming with the kick out from the 20-metre line. Out towards Gabriel Keoghan, broken by Noel Donoghue as far as Jared McKenna. Jared McKenna with the ball. He kicks it right foot into the corner. Paul Carlin chasing it, as indeed is ball handled on the ground. Referee allows it to go ahead. It's gone out over the sideline off the boot of Tommy Leddy, and it'll be a line ball to Cuchulliann's to be taken by Ronan Carlin. Ronan Carlin looking for Fintan Cahill. Fintan Cahill collects it, turns, kicks it right footed across goal, flicked out by Pádraig Mulligan. Chasing it over there is the cornerback Mark McGahern. We're now into injury time in the second half. It's at the discretion of referee Thomas McDermott as to how much longer will be played. The quick free to Shane McKernan. Shane McKernan to Philip Smith. Philip Smith with the ball. He plays it back to Shane McKernan. McKernan turns, kicks it right foot up the far side of the field. Francie Mulligan with the ball. He hops the ball, solos. Still Francie Mulligan. loses control of it. Ball flicked away by Peter Cooney. Shane McKiernan and Ronan Carlin chasing it. Peter Cooney collects it. His kick blocked down. Goes to Shane McKiernan. Shane McKiernan plays it across to Francie Mulligan. Francie Mulligan on mark, kicks it right foot, looking for Gabriel Keoghan. He collects it, plays it to Terry Hyland on the 20-metre line. Terry Hyland getting it hard to control it. He gets it up with the second attempt, plays it to Gabriel Keoghan. He kicks it right across goal. The ball held in there by Martin Quinn. Gets it out to his goalkeeper Jimmy Riley, and it'll be a free out for a harsh tackle on Jimmy Riley from the edge of the small parallelogram. Jimmy in no hurry to take it. He placing the ball as referee Thomas McDermott goes in and asks him for the ball. Cuchullann are the 1993 intermediate champions after a lapse of 6 years. The last won it back in 1987. They have now regained their title and will be going up to take part in the senior championship next year. And scenes of jubilation out there among the Cuchullann players. Some very disappointed Lacken players make their way across the field. Cuchullann's very, very happy. As we look at Father Dan Gillogly, former president of the Ulster Council and parish priest now in Mulla, make his way out onto the field to congratulate players, and being spoken to there by Paddy Carlin, father of Ronan and Eamon and Paul. And he'll be a very proud man tonight. He'll be a very proud man tonight as he makes his way back to Mulla. So, Cuchullan's the 1993 intermediate champions on a score line of 3-11 to 1-4. As we await the presentation of the cup to the Cuchullan's captain, Jimmy Riley, and goalkeeper, and he made some fine saves there in the second half. His full-back in front of him, John Doughty, he was solid throughout the hour. His wing half-backs, Peter Riley, Martin Lynch, they were solid as well. Their midfield duo, they won the game for them in the first half, Ronan Carlin and Noel Donoghue. Ronan Carlin adding to that with two superbly taken goals. On the 40, Eamon Carlin was very good throughout. Indeed, their whole half-forward line tormented the Lacken defence. And up front, Liam Doughty and Gerard McKenna took created some fine scores for the in-running midfield and half-forward line. As we await the two captains, Jimmy Riley and Gabriel Keoghan, to make their way to the rostrum for the presentation by County Board Chairman Brendan Keeney. Also a Man of the Match award being presented by the Lakeside Manor in Virginia. The proprietor Jim Brady making his way up also to make that presentation. Jimmy Riley now making his way across the barrier towards the rostrum, along with Gabriel Keoghan.
The second cup we have on display there today is the All-Ireland Cup for the Masters over 40 footballers, which Cavan won yesterday. Defeated Kildare 2-7 to 2-5.
So both captains making their way up onto the rostrum. Jimmy Riley being congratulated by County Board Chairman Brendan Keeney.
Good news, by right now, compared to stop from the way they come out to you. First of all, I want to congratulate the Horns for winning the 1993 Intermediate. I think over the hour, they were very deserving winners. I commiserate with Lacken. I know that over the hour they didn't get into the game, but nevertheless, I'm sure that they will be back too in 1994. Before I present the championship cup to the winning captain, Jimmy Riley, I would like to call on Noel Donoghue to come up here to see the man of the match from Tipperary. Intermediate Championship to Jimmy Riley. Ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Riley. Cortigaleo. It's more on Ordo, on Cornshaw, Lacken, on Sunburn, Cuchulliann. Ladies and gentlemen, and especially Reverend Fathers, it's a great pleasure for me to accept this cup on behalf of the Cuchulliann's team. I'm glad we produced the form we can produce today. We really got into it from the start and we've done ourselves justice. There's a lot of people who deserve credit for this result, none more so than Cormac Cahill, our manager. His assistant Martin Lynch, and a special word of thanks to Ray Cullivan. The amount of effort Ray has put in with our club in the last couple of years is just phenomenal, and he deserves a lot of credit. Fair play to him. I'd like to thank our committee, our chairman, secretary, treasurers and their assistants for all the help all year. And a special word of thanks to all our sponsors. I'd like to thank two men who gave us divine inspiration all year, Father Dan and Father Eamon Lynch. Father Lynch has been at this club since we won it last in '87, and he's put a phenomenal effort in the last few years, and it was very sad to see him go before we reap the reward today. And Shercock can feel very lucky to have a man from Mullahoran with his drive and determination with him next year. On a sadder note, I'd like to mention two men, Patrick Carlin and Kevin Gilser, who have been missing all year through injury, who were vital cogs in our team last year, and it's unfortunate that we won today without them, but they were an inspiration to us. Last but not least, I'd like to thank Lacken for a good, hard sporting game. They were unfortunate to come up against us in such form as we were in today, and they're a far better team than that. They're a good young team, and I wish them all the best for the future. 3 cheers for Lacken. Hip hip. Hip hip. Hip hip. Thank you. Captain of Lacken. This is a speech I didn't really want to have to make today, but that's the way it goes. Congratulations, Cuchullianns, on a great performance. All over the 60 minutes, you were well on top. I wish you well in senior championship football next year. You'll do yourselves proud. There's a lot of men I want to thank, put in a great effort all year. The panel of players, 25 or so, we put in a big effort for the last few months, trained very hard. To our team management, Terry Hyland, Danny Finnegan and Brian Comiskey. To our chairman, Gussie Crowe, and our committee for the great effort they put in preparing us for this final. That's all I have to say. Thanks very much.
Here we are in the aftermath of the Intermediate Championship final, speaking to Fintan Cahill. Fintan, congratulations. A good game to play in.
Thank you, Donald. It was a good game at the start. Unfortunately, I think it kind of went into a very relaxed attitude or atmosphere in the second half. But definitely, Cuchullian's were very, very well prepared. There's a lot of work done by Ray Martin and Cormac, especially in the few weeks up, because we had a long wait since the Ballymacue match. I think any final that you win is a great match to play in, and delighted to be a part of it.
Yes, the first half especially, there seemed to be something that you worked on there, playing the ball into your half forwards, then returning the pass to your two mobile midfielders.
We did actually do a lot of work with Ray on that, and the fact that we have two, as you said, mobile players in Ronan and Noel Donoghue, it's an enormous difference. And I think ultimately when we look back at the match, it has to be the two midfielders that won the game for us, especially from the very start.
Yes, the pass for the goal, the second one, in fact the third one, Ronan second. It was beautifully well timed. What did you see of that shot?
Seen very little, I suppose, the very same as the Lacken goalkeeper. Just that the two cornerbacks came for me, he let the shot at the right time, and I flicked there just hoping that he'd get it. He did, took it beautifully, as he has the habit of doing them, very good on the ball, and a great goal by any standard.
Yes, indeed. Fintan, many thanks for talking to us. Many congratulations.
Thanks.
It'll be a long night in Mulla.
It'll be a very long night and probably a very long week.
Thank you.
Okay, Donald.
With me, Father Dan Gillogley, past president of the Ulster GAA Council and now parish priest in Mulla. A very great day for the parish of Mulla.
Absolutely a great day, because this was necessary. This group of fellas have been around for a long time, and they have been, if I may say so, at the top of the Intermediate League, possibly nearly good enough for senior. Hopefully will make it now in senior, with all due respects to King's Court. And the fact is they deserved this, and they put in a lot of work, a lot of training this year, more than any other year since I've met them. I've only known them for 2 years, and it paid off today, because they opened up the play, and when they were letting on the ball, they were really going places, and they had a few class players that could finish things off.
Yes, Father Gillogley. You mentioned the large open spaces. Up there in Mulla, I know from refereeing, you have one of the biggest pitches in the county. That was a telling factor today.
Yes, but from my experience, Cuchullian's very often haven't used that very, very fine open pitch that they've up there. They've allowed themselves to be pulled into the centre, and today they didn't. They kept the game wide open, and indeed Lacken were sort of flattered to be going in only 9 points down at half time, because there was only one team in it. Then the second half degenerated into sort of mediocrity. Lacken really could have got more goals. We were lucky a few times things came back off the crossbar, but they never looked like pulling the game out of the fire, and the game degenerated, and that tends to happen when you're ahead by a big score. But all in all, it was a very satisfying victory for Cuchullian's. The lads deserved it, because I know from looking on them in the evenings they put in a lot of work, and it showed off today, and it was good for the club, because, as I said, the club had been around, this group of players had been around long before I was heard of, when I was operating in another hemisphere, and they needed this success. So it's now for senior ranks.
Now for senior ranks, and mentioning senior ranks, you'll be pitted against the likes of King's Court next year, Gowna. How do you think these players will cope in that type of situation?
Well, we have to wait and see. I wouldn't predict that, because quite frankly I thought that King's Court were gone when I looked at them in the league, and I couldn't get over the way that they planned and executed the demolition of Gowna in the county final, slowing down the game to their own pace and sparking on the same plugs that they've sparked on over the years. Fair dues to them, and I don't know where this video is going, but I would like to congratulate King's Court, because no finer group of fellas.
Father Gillogley, thank you very much, and we wish you well up in Mulla over the next week or so at your celebrations.
Thank you very much, Donald.
With me now, we have the captain of the Cuchullian's team, Jimmy Riley. Jimmy, many congratulations.
Thanks,
a great day for Mulla.
Brilliant. No, it's a great victory. 2 years hard work, and we reaped the reward today, thank God.
A couple of times in the second half, the crossbar down there. I remember saying during the commentary that Armagh were blessed down there sometime. Somebody said it was the new Archbishop. Would Father Dan have anything to do with that down there today?
You wouldn't know now, Father Dan or Father Lynch. Between them, I said they were praying hard at that stage. But I got my hand lucky enough to that one that went to the crossbar, and then there was another one straight across the face of the goals after. And I was glad to see them going. I'll tell you, I was glad to see them go back into play. We seemed to go off the boil a wee bit in the second half, let them back into it. Lacken had 3 or 4 goal chances, which they didn't take, thankfully, and lucky enough, a wee bit of complacency came into our game there for a while, but we went back up the field then and kicked a couple of pints, and that finished it.
Yeah. From the start of the game, right from the throw-in, your midfielders on half-forward line, they were really running at the Lacken defence. Was that something you had planned on doing from an early start?
Yeah, well, a final you can plan a lot of things, but a lot of times they don't come off. Thankfully today, I mean, Ronan and Noel and our half-forward line, everyone was backing each other up, and we're running, we were willing to run, we were taking them on in droves. Lacken had no answer to us at all. We should have had maybe 4 goals in the first half, and we gave an exhibition, I think, in the first half of how football could be played. Our full back line was backing up our half back line, and the whole way up the field. It was great to watch, and I think Lacken didn't know what hit them for a long time, and it was very hard to come back into the game when you're 9 pints down at half time. The first 10 minutes of the second half were vital, and we hung on, we kicked a few pints again, and after that we went off the boil, but we came back into it again and finished on a flourish.
Yeah, a couple of two great goals by Ronan Carlin. How did you see those?
They were just brilliant. I was just delighted to see them going in. I mean, Ronan had the game of his life there today. He gave an exhibition, and between Noel and Fintan and Ronan, they really stood out. Eamon was a thorn in Lacken's side the whole game, and everyone played well, but Ronan's goals were exceptional. I'm glad I just wasn't facing them.
Jimmy Riley, we'll not hold you up any longer. Many congratulations, and good luck with the celebration. And welcome to McNamee's pub in Mulla, where the celebrations after Cuchulliann's winning the Intermediate Championship are still going ahead here on Thursday night. Joining me now is Ronan Carlin. Ronan, a great day for the Cuchulliann's club.
It was a long overdue. We were thrilled with the way things went before, during and after the game, as you can see. We're really delighted that we're now a senior club. It's a thing that we really hoped for last year. It just didn't happen. In fact, we were extremely disappointed, and if anything, it probably drove us on to better things this year. With a lot of injuries early on in the year, and we really didn't think early on, I suppose, up as far as the league stage of the championship, we didn't really think that we were going to come good. I suppose it was the first game in the knockout stage of the championship against Castleran that things really began to come together, and we're thoroughly delighted now that we have actually won it now. It's like a dream come true really for us.
Yes, all the talk early on the championship was that it was down to Cuchulliann's and Ballymacue. In that semi-final, were you going into that match very confident, or how did you approach it?
We were quite confident, quietly confident. We had played Ballymacue last year, and we thought, we felt ourselves there were a lot of things against us that day, well, in both days. This year we play them in the league stage of the championship, and we were without, in fact, 5 of the 6 defenders that we would normally put out at that stage. In fact, as far as I can remember, we were without 8 players altogether. It's a thing I don't think they were aware of, but we were quite aware we were without so many. In hindsight, it was probably a great thing for us, because they were possibly quite confident in beating us in the semi-final. We knew we had played them earlier on, and we were without so many players, but also we got a chance to blood the likes of Terry Farley, who did brilliantly throughout the championship, and Martin Lynch, 2 young players. They're really the difference between Cuchulliann's of last year and Cuchulliann's of this year. The fact that we were missing Patrick, my brother, and Kevin Gilston was a huge loss to us early on, but I think Terry and Martin more than made up for them. And also, for the first time ever, we had on Sunday anyway 5 subs and even more that were actually disappointed they weren't picked, and it's the thing we haven't had ever, I think, in this club, as far as I can remember now in the 10 years I've been playing so far with the club. We've never actually had a player, or even 2 players, who were disappointed they weren't playing. A lot of people expected they were subs or they were actually playing, but we actually had 5 subs last Sunday who were very disappointed they weren't playing. In fact, really disappointed they weren't playing, and in fact our hearts went out for them, and unfortunately you can only put on 3 subs. We were delighted we were in the position in the second half to put on the 3 subs, but there were a couple of players that we'd love to have blooded. Like Paul Cooney thoroughly deserved his final place. Unfortunately he got sick, and John Farley unfortunately lost out. Paul Mark McKenna were delighted to get on. It just was a great day all round, and we were in the semi-final. I suppose was a crunch game, but really we didn't want to take Lacken in any way softly, because they were top of the league. They have more points than us in the league. They've beaten practically everybody we have beaten, and they've clocked up a great score against a good team of Cuchulliann, like in the semi-final. So all round, I suppose the semi-final and the final were two big games, and we were thoroughly delighted now to be sitting here on a Thursday night still enjoying ourselves.
Yes, indeed, Ronan. Your own personal performance in the final against Lacken, a total of 2-4. Can you talk to me about the second of those goals? Probably one of the best we've seen in Breffni Park in a very long time.
I don't really know about that now, but I'm just delighted to score it. Fintan, I think, made most of it. I think if you remember, Fintan took on the whole defence and brought the ball in as far as a good 15-14 yards out from the goals. As usual, when Fintan gets the ball, I think a lot of our opponents, and especially Lacken on Sunday, seem to attract, basically run towards him. He just seems to attract defenders like nobody else. It just gave me a bit of room, and like he took an awful lot of the pressure off. It gave me an extra second or two just to pick my spot, and I was just happy to see it go in, because in a lot of cases I can remember taking a shot like that against Donegal 2 years ago in Breffni Park, and it went a foot wide, and luckily enough on Sunday it went in. But it's one of those things that happens one day, and it more than likely it'll not happen, but I was just delighted now that it did go in.
Yes, in the first half in particular, both yourself and Noel Donoghue at midfield, you were coming running through the middle. Was that something you worked on in training?
Yeah, Cormac and Andre had encouraged both of us to go forward. I love, in fact, playing with Noel Donoghue in midfield, because he's a very strong fielder. Even though neither of us fielded an awful lot on Sunday, we were lucky enough to get room enough to go forward. Now, we were quite conscious of not going forward together. We took turns at going forward, and it's great, like when you have a partner beside you who can do that, because it meant that, not that we could get a breather, but you could actually defend for a minute and then go forward for a minute, and not exactly like that, but when the chance came, we could go forward. I could go forward knowing that Noel was covering, and vice versa, I'm sure. We were very lucky to have Terry Farley at wing half forward, and Terry is a natural midfielder. And we had arranged that if both of us happened to go forward, myself and Noel, that Terry would drop back, and it was great to have. I suppose we kind of got the run of things in the first 10 minutes, and Lacken seemed to be, I suppose, slightly nervous, and we got on top of them. We were very, very lucky. It made things an awful lot easier for myself and Noel. The fact that Jared scored the second goal, I think that really put an awful lot of pressure on Lacken. It took a huge amount of pressure off us. We were allowed to settle, and I think because of that, and because we put the extra couple of points on the board after that, it really finished the game as a contest. It possibly made myself and Noel look better than we actually are. But no, it was just an enjoyable experience all around, and I think Noel would say the same. It's nice to be able to score from midfield, because I think myself and Noel would actually say that it's probably our best position.
Tonight, I believe you're back in training, sweating out some of the Guinness from consumed earlier in the week.
That's true, yeah. We didn't particularly enjoy training tonight, but it had to be done. It's great to get out again. There was a great spirit tonight. We were just saying, like this time last week, we were very, very nervous. We didn't know what was going to happen. It's just great to relive, I suppose, the whole experience of training again. But we have a very important game on Sunday in Ballymacue, a game that we really do want to win. It's important for us in the league. We have to win it now to have any chance of going up, and also I suppose Ballymacue would like to beat us after us beating them in the semi-final.
Yes, indeed. How exactly are you fixed in the league at the moment?
Well, unfortunately, we were just discussing this. We had a club meeting here tonight, and I'd say any club in Cavan are in a bad situation where I suppose, fortunately enough, Noel and Fintan and myself have been asked in to participate anyway with the county over the last couple of years. Now, unfortunately, we have lost out because of that when it comes to league matches. As you know, we are a small parish, and we have a very small pick as it is, and any one player, not saying myself or Noel or Fintan are missing, but any player we miss, we really do miss on the field. It's a fact of having everybody together, and that's when we're at our strongest. in the league we lost three, and we lost 3 games and drew a game, and each of those games we should have really won. In fact, we were winning quite comprehensively in each of those games after around 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and because of that we're struggling at the moment. We need to win our last 2 games, and we're relying on the likes of Cornafane to be beaten, on Templeport to be beaten, and Lacken to be beaten on Sunday. Now if 2 out of the 3 of them are beaten, we have a chance of going up, and we really do want Division 1 status, because I think if we're not playing in Division 1 next year, we'll find it extremely hard at senior championship level. And I think you, of anybody around, would know that, you being from Kingscourt and so many. I was talking to Barney McCardle there on Saturday, and he was just saying that many of the Kingscourt players have 8 senior championship medals, and it's a thing we'd really, really love to have. But I think the game on Sunday would probably be more important as the game last Sunday, because we really do need to get Division 1 status to have any chance, in the senior championship next year.
Yes, indeed, Ronan. We wish you the best of luck on Sunday and in your remaining league matches. Many thanks for talking to us, and congratulations yet again. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Donald.
Joining us now is the Cuchulliann's full-back, John Doughty. Many congratulations on your victory on Sunday, John. What was it like playing in your first intermediate final?
It was a bit nerve-wracking now before the game and that, it's the first time, big game for me anyway, there's a few experienced players there now, and it showed on the day anyway, settled the whole team down an awful lot, and that. Everything went well for us, thank God. Anyway, the whole back line played very well, and it meant an awful lot in half time, the way we led by the 9 pints and that, and it was great going into the dressing room at that stage of the game, well eaten by that anyway.
Yes, indeed, it left you very confident going into the second half with that cushion.
Oh yeah, and we let Lacken back into the game now, a good bit into the second half. They got plenty of ball, and lucky enough for us that didn't make use of them opportunities that they got. That was there in the second half. It's just fortunate for us too.
Yes, indeed. I was speaking to Father Dan Gilogly after the match, and I was telling him that he must have come down and blessed the town goal.
Yeah, well, I don't know. People think that they should have scored more than they deserved to get, but they were kicking the ball there into a group of players, and the ball was going to go anywhere, not entirely into the goals,
A lot of their play seemed to be aimed at kicking a high ball into Philip Smith or John Crowe, but I thought you dealt very effectively under the high ball.
Yeah, maybe so. Thanks very much. We were just talking to the boys after their Tuesday night they were up, and that's one thing that they didn't intend to do, was kick high ball in, and they seemed to play an awful lot of high ball in, and thank God for me that they did do that, because a low ball doesn't suit me too well anyway.
Yeah, speaking to some of the lads earlier on here, I want you to tell me about a goal you scored earlier in the year.
You weren't supposed to mention that anyway. I don't know, what can I say about that? I didn't think you'd seen that anyway, and possibly you didn't. But I'm getting the credit for that anyway.
Yes, indeed. The goalkeeper behind you and captain of the side, an inspirational figure to the team.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's one of the best captains now you could have out at the club now, I'll tell you that. Very sound man, and he played his part very well on Sunday and throughout the year. But I was delighted for him to be up there lifting that cup, and done us all well throughout the year. Very good captain, very good man behind you too. Saved me my time anyway, I'll tell you that.
Yes, indeed, John. It's been good to talk to you. We'll let you back to the bar to continue with the celebrations. Thank you.
Nice one.
Joining us now in McNamee's Lounge is Martin Lynch, the left half back. Martin, what was it like in your first intermediate final?
Words can't explain it whatsoever. Going out onto the pitch beforehand, going out and looking around and seeing the crowd, seeing the flags, something I couldn't explain really. It's the best experience so far of my life.
Yes, going out onto the field, I'm sure your team manager Cormac Cahill had you all motivated to the last.
Very much so. It was my first ever club final, and it's one I'll never forget.
Yes, indeed. I was at the semi-final against Ballymacue, and definitely you were one player which stood out. That was always going to be a crunch match in the championship.
It was indeed, and especially for me, I work along with a lot of the fellas that play for the Ballymacue team, and it gave me motivation to, especially looking at them playing next to me, and thank God I done all I could on the day.
Indeed. Your two midfield players in front of you, Noel Donoghue and Ronan Carlin, they made a big contribution on Sunday last.
They did indeed. They're two lovely fellas to play with, and they help you all the way, give you support, and hopefully I wish them the best of luck now in the remaining of the year with county football, and hopefully to do well.
Yes, indeed, Martin. It's been good talking to you, and we wish you best of luck on the remainder of the league campaign. Many congratulations again.
Thanks very much.
Joining us now is right corner back Martin Flanagan. Martin, a very solid performance in the intermediate final.
Yeah, it was good enough. I didn't expect to be playing before the match. I was playing all year, and there's a lot of opposition for places there, and we got playing, and he was very delighted to be playing anyway. And then in the end, so there was probably about 9 back, I'd say, for about 6 places, and got playing anyway.
Yes, indeed. Ronan Carlin spoke about that earlier, the great depth of talent you had in the panel. That a big contributing factor to the win?
Sorry?
Was that a big contributing factor?
Yeah, it had to be. Even the forwards as well, there was 4 or 5 players as well, never got. There was 3 subs brought on, Martin Quinn and Paul Carlin and who was the other one? Mark McKenna, yeah. And there was John Farley, an old stalwart there. It was a great year all year. So he didn't get a run. He was probably disappointed he didn't get a run. But you can only put on 3 subs anyway. But I think the first couple of goals made the whole difference in the game anyway. And listening to the Celts this evening, it was very funny. I read the Celts this evening, they said the final score probably should have been 3-11 to 5-4. I think it should have been about 6-11 to 5-4. After what did they score? They scored 1-4. 6-11 to 1-4.
Yes, indeed. Cuchulliann's had more goal chances that didn't come off.
Well, probably goal chances they should have kicked over the bar, but still, the goal chances that Lacken had in the second half are really they weren't really goal chances. They came in, they hit the crossbar, and John Dowie scored a great goal, of course, full back. Unfortunately, he wasn't playing full forward. He might have got 2 or 3, but apart from that, he had a great game, and he really got man of the match, which he probably deserved all year. And he's a good one.
Yes, indeed. High words of praise there for John Doughty. Yeah. What do you say about your goalkeeper, the last line of defence, the man behind you?
Jimmy Riley, our captain. He's all right. We keep him off the beer. He drinks a lot, lately, and especially coming up to your final out Saturday night, out in the manor of Saturday night. But still, we went out Sunday and he done his stuff, and he saved 3 or 4 goal chances, and had a great game. Good find of mine, Jimmy.
Yes, Jimmy always seems to get a little touch to those shots coming in goal.
Yeah, he does. I don't know how he gets them, but he gets to them anyway. It must be the few extra pints he drinks in the manor of Saturday night.
Yes, indeed, Martin. It's been good talking to you. Yeah. Thanks very much.
Okay. I'll see you then.
Joining us now is Brian Daly, the centre half back. Speaking to somebody up at the bar earlier, they said Brian the Terminator. Where did that name come from?
The Terminator. That's the first time I heard of that. Now I can't explain that really. Don't. I don't know where they got it at all. I can't explain that. No.
No explanation forthcoming for that. We'll have to investigate further later on in the night. Brian, a good win for Cuchulliann's. What did it mean for the town of Mulla and the surrounding area?
Well, definitely, I suppose it's the last 5 or 6 years, that we haven't actually won anything in that, So therefore, for the youth of the parish as well as everyone else, it is vital. it's vital that we actually, we bring something back to the parish, and therefore you can't be winning. You know that yourself, Donald. You can't be winning. You know.
Yes, to say success breeds success. You're going back up into the senior championship next year. You'll be looking forward to that.
We will surely, yeah. Like the last over the last few years there, 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 years ago, we won the 6 years ago we won the intermediate. We played the first 2 years of that, like we struggled, and then the third year or so, we did very, very well, and when we got everyone together, we did very well that year, and we felt that we were well able to hold our own with in the senior league and championship, and the following year then we actually were missing a lot of players, and we came back down, and if we can get everyone out together and get a full panel, we reckon that we have the potential to actually to maybe even challenge, hopefully challenge for a senior title.
Yes, indeed. Speaking to Ronan Carlin earlier on there, he was saying that you have a couple of vital matches left in the league.
Yeah, we have 2 games to play. Next Sunday is the game. Our next game with Ballymacue. It's vital that we win that, and it's always good to beat Ballymacue. Not that we have bet them that often in the last few years. Killigary is our next game after that, so hopefully we'll win that one as well, and we'll get into the running for Division 1 next year.
Yes, indeed. It would be vital to run both Division 1 and Senior Championship together.
It would, yeah. It should help. Like, one should help the other. Senior Championship, we'd want to be playing Division 1 to play Senior Championship. We would, definitely. It'd be a great help.
Yes, indeed. Brian, the first half on Sunday, there was very little pressure on the Cuchulliann's defence. Your midfield were dominating.
Midfield were dominating. I think an awful lot of. I think they're all talking about the midfield. I think the forwards did fierce well last Sunday, especially in the first half. They were hungry for the ball. They came out and they got the ball, and they scored. That means an awful lot to any team, and therefore it takes an awful lot of pressure off the back line and the 6 backs in particular, and therefore when they're playing well, it's easy for everyone else to play well, I think, anyway. So therefore we didn't have to do too much. Hopefully, well, thanks be to God, we didn't have to step up a gear. They played well and the forwards played well, and that was vital for the rest of the backs. All right, yeah.
Yes, indeed. I'm sure the battle cry in training beforehand must have been one of Jack Charlton's, put them under pressure.
Put them under pressure, yeah. I think the rest of the fellas all right felt fairly confident. I wasn't that confident at all. I was very nervous all week. They did. They felt very confident, and it showed at training, and we really made a big effort. And Cormac Cahill, Ray Cullivan, they really made a big effort as well, and they told us what we had to do, and we went out and we done it, and that was it,
Yes, indeed, Brian. Many congratulations. We'd like to join the celebrations back up at the bar. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Jared McKenna now joins us, the right corner forward, goal poacher supreme. You showed that on Sunday early on in the match.
Yeah, I suppose we got off to a great start Sunday. It was a sort of a dream start. As a result, we nearly finished off the game very early, which was as bad, I suppose, for a neutral person at the game. It wasn't much of a game after that, I suppose, but it was a great start for us and really set us up for the first half.
Yes, indeed. Speak to me about that second goal, the one that you scored.
You can sort of recollect I think it was Finton took a shot in and it sort of dropped into the goalie's hands. I think he went to clear with a fist pass, and Liam Devey came across full forward and blocked it. And so the ball came loose, and I pulled on it, and sort of was hanging around in the small box, and I just went in and finished it off. Sort of, as you said, a goal poacher.
Yes, indeed. Ian Rush or Ryan Giggs would be proud of it.
I don't know about that. I think they get more money for it.
Yes, indeed, a great win, great performance by the forward line all over. Eamon Carlin under 40 had a great game.
Yeah, they done a tremendous amount of running, very fast Eamon. I suppose we're in for a lot of criticism all year, like well, in the papers anyway, about the Cullen forward line and lack of scoring and all the rest. But last 5-6 games of the league even have proved that we can score 314, 315 on average in the last couple of games for us. So we play a very open, fast sort of game, which allows the midfield men, which are very mobile, to come through, and they kick up a lot of scores as a result too.
Yeah, yes, indeed. Your midfielders were coming through all the time. You were playing the low ball into your forwards and then feeding it back out.
Yeah, so Liam was a new find for us on midfield or in full forward line, and he comes out, collects a lot of ball from the midfielder and leaves the big box open for the forward line or the midfielders to come running through either side of him as he lays the ball off to them. Get a lot of goals off Liam on the full forward.
Yes, indeed. Any characters in this Cohollands team?
A good few, alright. We have the Mike Quinn, and which came on as a sub. I think that you hear the cheer on the stand when he came on. We have a good lot of characters, yeah. Butcher and they just can't even. Everybody has their own individual bit of character. Yeah, there is a bit of character on the team, definitely.
Yes, indeed. Jared, it's been good to talk to you. We'll let you back to the celebrations.
Thank you, Dom.
Joining us now is the Cohollands team captain, Jimmy Riley, and goalkeeper. Jimmy, one goal got past you on Sunday. How did you feel about that?
Very annoyed, I'll tell you. Well, I was lacking at enough chances maybe to score goals. I thought our backs contained them well enough, you know. Looking at reports and different things, it seemed different, but we never really were ruffled at the back at all. I had a couple of saves to make, and I honestly never felt that Lacken would get through. And as it finished up, it took an own goal to get the only goal that they did get. And at the time, it was immaterial anyway, and it didn't really bother me for a change.
Yes, indeed. They seemed to persist with a high ball across the square. John Doughty was coping very well with those.
It didn't make any sense at all, you know. They took their full forward out to midfield and they started landing balls in, and so John was there around between the 14-yard line and the 21-yard line, and sure, he could take them all day, the humour he was in, you know.
Yes, indeed, Jimmy. I've been speaking to some of the lads earlier on. They were saying that your performance and goal was linked to the Lakeside Manor on Saturday night.
Maybe they're talking about themselves. It certainly wasn't me, that's for sure. I wasn't in the Manor in a few months. I was in it Monday, all right, but that was the first time I was in it in ages. I go there all day for my dinner, all right, but that'd be it.
Yes, indeed, Jimmy. The captain winning intermediate side. What was the feeling like on Monday and Tuesday when things had settled down?
It's a great honour, you know. I'm sure it's something every player dreams of. It's a bit nerve-wracking before a game or that. I mean, I didn't want to tempt fate and write out a speech or practice a speech. I had nothing planned at all, and it's a brilliant feeling to go up and lift the cup on behalf of everyone else. But like, it's only a wee job really, and it's something. If you weren't a captain, it's something that you wouldn't think was any big deal. But there's always a wee bit of pressure there, and you feel that you have to play well to inspire everyone else. And being a captain in goals is very different, really, you know, because usually just playing goals. I mean, you can see a game or whatever, and you can criticise someone, or you can give out here and there. But when you're a captain, you just have to be reserved in everything you do, and hopefully you play well and inspire everyone. And thankfully on Sunday now, I didn't have much to do, and no one got an earful.
Yes, indeed, Jimmy. It was a great performance by the Cohollands team all around, and many congratulations yet again. We'll let you back to the celebrations. Joining us now is Cohollands centre fielder and man of the match, Noel Donoghue. Noel, an inspirational performance at midfield.
Oh, I wouldn't say that now, Donald. Just things went right for me on the day. just got in the right positions at the right time. And Ronan beside me now was a big inspiration as well. He played very well.
Yes, indeed. A total of 4 points from play from midfield. It's a good performance by any standards.
It was, yeah. Well, a couple of the points now just came at vital stages when we were under a bit of pressure, and I just got in the right positions and looked up and tapped them over.
Yes, indeed. Cuchulliann's got off to a dream start. 2 goals within 6 minutes. The game was more or less over as a contest.
That's right. Ronan broke through for the first goal. I think he took the ball out around the 40 yards out, and he just ran through and put it away. And it was a great lift for the rest of us out. We were struggling, working very hard, and 2 goals came, and they more or less lifted the team.
Yes, indeed. It's always vital in any final to get off to a good start.
That's right, yeah, because Lacken, their backs were really against the wall once the 2 goals went in.
Yes, indeed. There seemed to be a ply with the Cuchulliann's midfield, playing the low ball in front of Liam Doughty and Eamon Carlin, and then feeding off them as you ran forward. Was that something you worked on in training?
We worked in training at that for the last couple of months. Some matches you go out, it'll work, you can make those runs, and if you don't get the ball, it doesn't work. So I think a lot of credit has to go to the fellas inside. When they got the ball, they let it go, they looked up and they seen us coming through, and I think myself and Ronan probably has taken a lot of credit for those runs, but I think it's the fellas inside that won possession and held it up that really should get the credit.
Yes, indeed. Many's the long night, I'd say, spent in the park here in Mulla. The hours of sweat and grief maybe after a league match or league defeat. But it's all worth it in the end.
In the end, it's all about championship, and there's no substitute for victory. There was a few matches in the league where Cuchulliann's had to go out and had to play without myself, Ronan and Finton, and they were beaten. And I think a lot of lads lost heart, because we weren't there and different things happened. But when it comes to the championship, it's all about winning.
Yes, indeed. Looking down through their list of subs, they're quite a strong panel. 3 subs come in onto the team on Sunday. Good strength and depth.
This year it has been, yeah, because there's a lot of competition for places, and lads wanted to. I think after last year, what happened, a lot of lads wanted to prove to themselves and to everybody else that we were well capable of winning the championship, and it turned out that way this year.
Yes, indeed. Noel, going back up into senior championship ranks, you'll be looking forward to that next year.
Yeah, there's no football like playing senior football. It's the football to be playing, and we're delighted to be back up in those ranks.
Yes, and also with that you'll be looking to get back up to Division 1 status. 2 very vital matches over the next couple of weeks.
That's right, we have to play Ballymacue and Killigary, and we've Ballymacue on Sunday. Now it's hard to say at this stage what that's going to be like, but Killigary are struggling down at the bottom, and they're going to be all out to beat us because they want the points as well, so it's going to be very interesting to see what will happen.
Yes, indeed, Noel, we wish you all the best in those league matches, and indeed with the county team over the winter months in the league. Many congratulations. We'll let you back to the celebrations.
That's lovely, Don. Thanks very much.
Joining us now is Mickey Dunn from Dunn's licensed premises next door. Michael, you were a member of the team in '87, which brought the last intermediate championship back to Cuchulliann's. How does the two teams compare in your opinion?
Jeez, that's a tough one now. I think that'd be that outfit Sunday be a far better outfit.
Yes, you reckon a stronger squad of players this time around?
I think they're a better side, all right.
Yes, there was 2 great performances in midfield from both Ronan Carlin and Noel Donoghue.
Yeah.
As fine a performances as we've seen in Brefty Park in a long time.
Yeah, looking good for Cavan football now. If they could produce that for the county team, there'd be some future.
Yes, Michael, come back to your early days, your early playing career.
Yeah.
How much has football changed from those days?
I think it's got faster. It's an entirely different game now. It's a kind of a running game, you know. Nowadays it was all catch and kick. Better game, more exciting game.
More exciting game. You played county football with Cavan, represented your club here. What advice would you give to Ronan Carlin, Noel Donoghue, young lads like that?
I didn't play that much county football. I'd be the only one that had know about that now. No one else in the county seems to know. I got a few runs, all right. What would my advice be to them? Oh, geez, I wouldn't like to give advice to Noel or Ronan. They wouldn't need any advice from me. That they're different types of fellas than what I was. A bit fond of the beer.
Yes, indeed. Talking to some people earlier on there, it was a great year for the blue and white, for Kingscourt, for Arva and for Cuchullan's. It's also a great year for the Cavan over 40s team. There's some rumour out that there was a possibility of you being part of that panel.
Jeez, if I knew they were going to win it, I went with them, all right. I slipped up there badly. Yeah, no. Next year, maybe. You never know.
You reckon you'll be there to help them put 2 back-to-back?
Oh, God, yeah. If I'm asked, of course.
If you're asked. Michael, it's been good talking to you here in Mulla. We'll let you back to the celebrations.
Right, thanks,
and hopefully we'll get a song from you later on the night.
No doubt, thanks.
Joining us now is the Cuchullan's team manager, Cormac Cahill. Congratulations, Cormac. A great team performance on Sunday.
Thank you, Donald. Yes, we were very pleased with the match and the way they played. Not alone with the match, but the actual display. You know, it was something else. It's what we would hope for, and we actually got on the day. There was the rest of the championship matches. We more or less struggled through them. You know, with a point or two to spare, and deep down, I knew that they were better than that, but they actually produced the goods on the day, and it was very satisfying, yes.
Yes, indeed. Very attractive brand of football played by this young Cuchullan's team.
Well, Ray Cullivan and I worked with them on playing an open type of football and a running type of football, and the players were there, we say, and we had the players to do that type of football, and we knew that, and to actually be able to produce it on the day was something of a bonus. You know, it's something you'd hope for, but a lot of matches, while deep down I thought possibly that they would play well and maybe win. You know, the fear of maybe just falling down on the day, because in the championship matches, and I spoke to the lads before they went out, and I had told them that they hadn't played well. Even though we were in the final, they hadn't played well during the championship. Maybe one of the matches against Castlerahan, I thought they gave quite a good display, but I knew there was more in there than what we were actually getting out. So,
yes, indeed, Cormac. It must have been very gratifying for you, for after all the hard work in the park during the summer months, long evenings, work and planning, scheming, to come through and win with such a fine performance.
Well, we started off very slowly, I might add, and we say last May or April when we started in the league, we had a huge amount of injuries, and our county players weren't allowed to play us with the new rule in the league, and we struggled in the early matches, and you know, when you don't get a good start in the year, it's hard to convince fellas that there's something still there for them, you know. But as the year went on, it was a peculiar situation. Normally we'd start with a team fully flying, and you would lose them through injury during the year. But we started the opposite way around. We started with injuries and started to build up as the year went on, and it was a revelation as it turned out that coming into the final, my biggest problem was, and make no secret of it, was actually selecting the 15 that was going to take the field on the day. I had a very Irish panel.
Yes, indeed, it's a problem and a headache, I think, which an awful lot of club managers and indeed county managers would be quite happy to have. You were team manager back in 1987, the last time Cuchullan's won the intermediate championship. They're saying around Mulla now that you're the man with the Midas touch.
I'd love if I had. It's hard work, I suppose. In '87, I was dealing with probably half of these guys here played in '87. But I had a few very experienced players as well. Some very young players like Finton and Ronan and Jimmy and Noel. They were playing, but they were only 17 and 18 years of age. And we had a tremendous year that year because we only lost one match in the league through the whole year, and we played in the league final that year and Mullahorn beat us. And it was a tremendous year. And but there again, I had a great panel, great bunch of lads. And this year, they were in '87 they were after being in 3 finals, you must remember. So they had quite a bit of experience when I came in there, and they knew what finals were about. So possibly I was lucky to have them on third time round, and they just knew they had that little bit more going for them, you know. But it was a great achievement in '87 because it was the first championship we ever won. And this year, we had a bit of a disaster last year, like in the tail end of the year, when we had the match at Ballymacue, and the lads didn't recover from that because I suppose the less said about that match, the better. I could go on about that match for a long time, but I had nothing to do with them at the time. But coming into the spring there, the lads asked me would I have a go at it again, and I mean, I did eventually accept. I don't particularly like the job, the fact that I have lads of my own playing, but I took it on, and when I took it on, I said I would give it 100%, and it worked. You know, it worked out for me.
Yes, indeed, Cormac. You have some very nice and talented young players coming on there, the likes of Martin Lynch, Terry Farley, 2 very capable young players.
We were blessed, you know, to have players of that calibre coming on. Those two guys really, they were an inspiration to the rest of the fellas as well. They were tremendous. Martin Lynch has been with us now for a few years, and we were playing him as a forward. And we had the occasion in Mulla one day to, in the beginning of the year again when we were short, we brought him back a half back, and he was very impressive. And as it turned out, he wasn't a flash in the pan. He's settled in there lovely. He's really playing very good stuff, and I think probably the under-21s in the county should be looking at him.
Yes, indeed, it would be sound advice to give an under-21 manager. Going back to your own playing days, Cormac, how much has the game changed, the pace, what way?
That's a long time ago. Well, I the club scene was probably a little bit more dogged. You wouldn't get the free-flowing football we had last Sunday in my time. Number one, I suppose the pitches weren't of the same calibre, and you hadn't the same space to move around. I mean, when I look at some of the pitches we played on, you know, in the 60s, look, just actually pass the road and look at them today, you'd wonder how 15 fellas or 30 fellas actually did compete without killing each other, you know. And it was fairly tough, but the county scene was. Cavan were doing probably a little bit better than what they're doing at the moment, and it was hard to get a run on the county at the time. And I remember they contested a few Ulster finals, and we played in Croke Park a few times. And county scene, I suppose, at the time, Ulster didn't seem to be as strong as what it is today, but it was a different type of football. Absolutely different type of football, and you can't compare. You can't compare with, say, 60s football with today's football. You just can't compare it. Today it's a more free-flowing football, and you can get half-backs and corner-backs, half-backs, centre field attacking, and like what we had on Sunday. And in our day, that wasn't heard of. Centre field man stood in the middle of the field and caught a ball. Nowadays, it's more of a free flowing and running and backing each other up. It's nicer football to watch probably today, I think.
Yes, probably more entertainment, more movement on and off the ball.
Yeah, it was more man to man than it was. You know, you got when you were playing a corner forward or a half forward, you had your square that you stayed in. You know, and if you left that, there was somebody rowing at you to get back into it. You know, and you're restricted in that sense. Nowadays, I would be encouraging lads to go looking for the ball and to do more running, and it's more of an athletics. It's more of athletics. It's more athletics involved in it, if you know what I mean. You have to be fit and have more stamina than what you had in my day.
Yes, indeed. Talking of fitness, it's a very big commitment from any player, not alone at club level, but at county level. Big demands on himself at work and on his family.
Well, I can see from Finton's end of it now, the training, the amount of training they put in. And I did attend a couple of training sessions, county training sessions. And to be honest, they're horrific. Young men, we said, that have to give that over are certainly not appreciated when they go out to play club football by the supporters for the amount of football they put into at county level, like the likes of Ronan and Carlin there and Finton and the lads. They really abuse themselves, to say, for the sport. And there's very little in it, especially when you're playing with somebody like Cavan at the moment who don't get by the first round of the championship. But it's great to have them lads coming back to our club, because they really show up the level of fitness at club level, and they're a tremendous addition. When you take Noel Donohoe and Finton and Rowan, they're a tremendous addition to our club.
Yes, indeed, Cormac. It's been very good talking to you. We'll let you go back to join the celebrations. I hear Mickey Dunn calling a drink up there for you.
Mickey was trying to remind me there of a time that we attended an Ulster final in Clones. We did actually. It was a peculiar system that wouldn't happen nowadays. It couldn't happen nowadays, whereby myself and Mickey, and he would stand by this. After 4 years, I wasn't with the county on the county panel for 4 years. We actually togged out in an Ulster final. Myself and Mickey did, and I hadn't stood, or either of us hadn't trained with the county panel, and we were brought in and togged out for an Ulster final in Clones. Yeah, so Mickey will verify that.
Many congratulations, Carmen. Thank you very much. Thank you. Joining us now is Cuchulliann journalist Mark McKenna. Mark, great day for Cuchulliann's football on Sunday.
It was. Club worked very hard over the year. We had a lot of injuries at the start of the championship, and then we had one or two suspensions. There's one or two games by a point or two. It was the first time we played football in the final. Okay, part of the panel, you'd like to be starting, but I can't complain. Like I played in the championship early on. And it's great to see the boys going out there and walking through the team. I thought we were going to get hard. Going with the league performance in Cross, they hit us hard that day. But didn't seem to get near us at all. Even they were always trailing behind our forwards in midfield. Even the half-backs, John Dowdy, they're coming out up the wing, 30-40 yards out, carrying the ball. You never really see that in a county championship final.
Yes, indeed, Mark. You came on a substitute in the second. You were there. Did you see that third goal from the boot of Rowan Carlin?
I seen Finton. I caught cross behind Finton, and I seen Ronan coming through between the two of us. And I was coming in on the corner of the box, and I was shouting for the ball. And next thing Finton gave it to Ronan, and just whack. That I just seen it leaving his boot, and next thing I turned around, I seen it bouncing the back of the net. It's the last I've seen of the ball.
Yes, indeed. I think Patrick Mulligan or Porrick Mulligan, Lacken goal, didn't see it either.
I think I had a better picture of the ball than he had. Like, I seen it leaving the boot. Only he's seen it now too well. I just heard a whisper of a shot leaving Rowan's boot, and I just turned around. I didn't know where. I just turned around. I was looking in the goals next to seen it laying in the corner, bouncing. First I seen of it.
Cuchulliann off to a dream. 2 goals and a point within 6
Definitely. Rose's first goal was good. Liam Dowhy to help the second one by robbing the goalkeeper. Jeremy came in and scored and the points. After 2 goals, Gordon Settlin started to take a few points. Had 1 or 2 chances for goals, hit the post, 1, 2 blocked down. Like, could have been a lot more in the first half, I think. Missed 1 or 2 chances, but they were well saved,
Yes, indeed. Collins were really rampant coming through from midfield and the half forward.
Well, I don't think that Lacken have prepared well to match Ronan and Noel from midfield. Then like Terry Farley, Finton Carroll, Eamon Carroll on the half-forward line, and they're all very fast players. And I don't think they knew what hit them. I think it took them midway through the second half to find out what was going on. And even at that, it didn't stop.
They seem really to have no answer. They tried bringing out their forward Phillips with the midfield. It was still making no difference.
Well, we've seen that happening on the bench. Coach Evan was saying move John out, and some say no, leave him in. And leave John in. He got the full forward got 2 balls out in the first half, and one went straight back in, and the other was Rob Jimmy Morton, and they went back up. 2 of them went back up for scores. Like, it definitely didn't work for Lacken. That was a bad move. Right to leave someone on John.
Yes, indeed, John was a lone sweeper there, clearing everything out.
A big man like that, you don't run loose around the pitch.
Yes, indeed, Mark. It was great to see you coming on. You must have been delighted to get on and get a feel for the atmosphere in Breffni Park.
It's great. Like, you know, the crowd there run onto a pitch in a final. It's brilliant. In the crowd shouting, you got the ball, you make a pass, or you take a score, and the crowd shouting. It's a great feeling. It is. You can't buy it.
Mark McKenna, we'd like to be back to the celebrations. Many congratulations yet again.
Thank you very much.
Joining us now in McNamee's Lounge Bar is Patrick Gearner, chairman of the Cohollins Club. Very proud day for yourself, Patrick.
Great proud day now for yourself and for the club, and it's great. I didn't play much football, and it's great to be chairman of the club, and especially to be chairman when they won the Really Championship. Very good day.
Yes, indeed, Patrick. An awful lot of people probably don't realise the amount of time and effort put in by the chairman and his officers and committee throughout a year, never mind a year when you win a championship.
Yeah, there's a lot, all right, but it's when it's come to the end, when you do win, but there is a lot of work goes in, and I suppose when you get to that stage, I suppose, and don't play, you have great enjoyment in doing it, and it's great to get the chance to do it, and it's an honour really to do it, you know, because the players that we have now are a great young bunch of lads, and you wouldn't get them in the county, maybe in the country, you know, so lads, and it's a pleasure to do them and to help them in any way you can.
Yes, indeed, Patrick. You seem to have a very young organisation around here in Mull. Look to yourself with the secretary, 2 young men. Any wise heads there in the background?
Oh yeah, plenty of wise heads, all right. But I suppose you could say that it's young enough. Chairmen, I suppose secretaries go, they're always on the maybe the other side, but I think here we have a great young team, and I think it matches in well with the youth, to have youth. But there has been a lot of good older members, like Steer on the club last year, still there and still supporting us, and there if there's any help needed, and that I think that it's ran by the young people of the club. It's just ran by the club. They are there and with all the help and advice if they ever want it.
Yes, indeed, Patrick. Myself, as a referee, it's always a great credit to the club coming here. The pitch is always in tremendous condition. Dressing room, everything really well. A lot of preparation put in.
Yeah, great deal of preparation. I suppose luckily in a way we have 2 pitches in the parish. We have the Gaelic pitch down in Cross, and we have Community Park in Mulla. and we try to separate the games and play them equally. The pitch in Cross is on the small side, I suppose, but it suits us in some games. Then if we think it suits us in Mulla, on the big pitch we play in Mulla. So it's a great deal of thanks to the park committee to allow us to play and train and give us the dressing rooms and the park in Mulla when we want it. It is a good dry park, and I think if you're going for championships, it's the place to be training, because it's one of the biggest pitches in the county, and you won't be playing on a bigger one than the one in Mulla.
Yes, indeed, that was quite evident on Sunday. The large expanses of Breffni Park really suited the Cuchullan's team.
Yeah, I think it did. I think it was a help to us, because we trained there now for the last, I'd say, 2 months in Mulla constant, and learned to use the big pitch. And I think both Cormac and Martin and Ray Cullivan told the players that this is it, this is the size of the pitch you'll be playing on, and that to use the big pitch. And I think it worked on Sunday. I think it was a help to us, all right, to be used to a big pitch.
Yes, coming back into Mulla on Sunday night with the Cup, it must have been a great feeling, great to be associated with the club.
It was a great feeling to see all the people out there on the way. The first place we came into the parish was at Clifford, and there was enormous amount of people there, and a great reception was the whole way through up. And I think even in the hotel in Virginia we went into it, and everyone from Mulla was in it, and even the people from around the outskirts of the parish was all there. And then when we came into Mulla, there was thousands of people out to welcome us. And seemingly this time the people of the parish got behind the team, and I'm glad that the team didn't let them down. Everyone seemed to be wanting the team to win, and it was evident when we came back that everyone was delighted that they won, and there was a great turnout, and it was a great day for the parish.
Yes, indeed. It was speaking to Father Dan Gillogly, your local parish priest, in Breffni Park after it. He was saying it was great, and great for the youth, the underage players coming on.
Yeah, I think it is. Now we put on a bus for the young players going down, and they enjoyed it an awful lot, and I think it's great for them. It'll help them an awful lot. And even during the schools on the Monday after the game, the reception we got was unbelievable. All the school children was delighted, and let's hope it'll continue on, and that they'll maybe in their day bring back a cup to Mulla, hopefully.
Yes, indeed, Patrick. It's been very good talking to you. We wish you many more years of success here. And joining us now is Richie Leddy, Secretary of the Cuchullan's Club. Richie, I believe this is your first year as Secretary.
Unfortunately, I was going to ask my wife. I think she's a bit fed up now at this stage.
Yes, I'm sure though, and come AGM time, and one thinks back of the success and the Sunday night in September coming into Mulla, you'll be back in the position again.
More than likely, don't let them. More than likely.
What was the feeling like coming in back into Mulla with the cup on Sunday?
Well, I just tell you now, it was just serious with the best night, and the following day and night, I suppose, best night's crack I've ever had in my life. To be honest, they're a great set of lads, and there's always successful games. Players there now. We won at 87, like Finton, Roland. They were only 17 years of age, 18 years of age, and they're matured together. And this year, I think they showed especially the final, they showed that class that they have. We have the football in us, and we actually played it on the day, which was the main thing. So we're threatening to do that all year, and we're waiting, and we just did it on the right day. Something similar to the way Kingsford always does as well. They always use the stuff on the day.
Yes, county final day is always the big day in Calvin football. It's always great to give a memorable performance.
I think, like it's all right now, we're only a few days after, but in years to come we'll look back on this. And no disrespect to Kingsford or Gowna, I think the best football that's played in the county football this year was Cuchullan's that played it. And you have probably seen all the games, you've seen the junior, senior, and you have to admit that the way we moved, the way we passed the ball around, threw it around, there's a lot to be said for Cormac there, Ray Cullivan. We walked and we walked hard, and it came to fruition on the day. They deserved everything they got. And hopefully you can build a platform now from this. If not looking good enough to be able to get to Division 1 next year, it's going to be hard to play senior football from Division 2. But we'll try. That's all we can do. Keep playing the way we're playing. There's not too many teams going to stop us.
Yeah, speaking to some of the players earlier on, they seem very much motivated for the remaining 2 league matches. They want up into Division 1.
We're depending on results from other teams now at the moment. We're expecting some of these teams have to be bet. All we can do is win our 2 matches, and still then we're still waiting on someone else to lose games. It's not a great position to be in. But it'd be a shame to see that team playing Division 2 football next year.
Yes, indeed. Coming out of Breffney Park on Sunday evening, I was speaking to people from all over the county, and they were rating Crowholland's in the top 6 or 7 senior clubs within the county.
It's going to be very hard to us if we do end up in Division 2 next year. It's very hard to motivate a team to play in the senior championship. Because we are as good as like the Cuchulliann, or you have Ballyhays, you have Dane. Like in Cavan, I suppose your top 4 clubs will be Growner, Kingsford, Ram or Bearable. Like we could mix it with them, give them the same opportunities they have of playing against good teams. If you're playing against bad teams, it's very hard to come along and play against a good team and raise your game against them. That's going to be a major problem next year.
Yes, indeed. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of back work, meetings, everything to be done. It's a long enough year too.
I picked a bad year to be secretary, but that's played the fight. I enjoyed every minute. I'm famous if there's no point saying I'm not. Like it would be a bad year if I take over secretary. It could be finished last June or July. Things have gone on, and I suppose I've learned more in a year than most people are ever going to learn in their lives is doing secretary of a club. A club that would be unfortunate to have the panel that we have. I'm learning still, and maybe there'll be next year.
I'm sure they will indeed, Richie. You worked hard, the team looked well on going out onto the field on Sunday. You had sponsorship, worked out well with firms around town.
And that's one thing I would like to do now is to thank everyone who sponsored the team. We had Muller Stores, our main sponsors. We have Mickey Dunn there, he sponsored this year. Paddy. We had Jimmy Murray up there. Mark Demise here where we are. We had John Monaghan. We had McKenna Farrell. I'm probably forgetting some of this stage, but the one thing I would like to do is thank everyone who sponsored the team. Anything we got, greatly appreciated. And hopefully we're able to give some business back to the town. I think they've done well for this week, and hopefully this year forward can be carried over. And just that buzz that's around the town can be kept going.
Yes, indeed, Richie. It's always, I know it's free coming into Mulla or over to Cross. It's a great credit to the officials of the club and the committee members. The field is always looking well marked, nets up, flags. The dressing room is in tip-top shape. It's a great credit to lots of hard work goes into that.
There's a lot of people involved over the years now, and maybe we're forgetting some of them tonight, but as you were saying now, the field marked out. People does that. You have your linesmen, your umpires. They all take a big part in the club, and everything they do is appreciated. They're players who have played for the club down the years, and they're still putting interest back in. And unless you have these fellas doing that, you're not going to have a club. Like your own club is a great example. And we are probably not just maybe as good as you, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yes, indeed. We'd be looking forward to a crack at Crowholland, I'm sure, in next year's senior championship. And it's been good to talk to you, Richie, and get you back to the celebrations. Many thanks.
Thanks very much, Colin.
Joining us now is the wife of the club secretary. What does it mean to the ladies, all the Cuchulliann's winning on Sunday?
A lovely night for everybody.
You've obviously enjoyed all the celebrations, got round most of the pubs in town.
There was a lot of crack all right on Sunday night and Monday night, you know. We got through a lot of pubs.
Large attendances on all nights.
Yeah, Sunday night a bit jammed. Great crack on Monday night.
Monday night things had settled down. Probably a long day for some people on Monday.
A very long day for some people, yeah.
Wife of the club secretary, who's always away, just meetings. Does cause strife left to the kids on your own, or?
No problem at all. I'm a very understanding wife.
Joining us here now is Phyllis Cahill, wife of Cuchulliann's team manager. The amount of preparation that went into this team. Did you see your husband at all over the summer? You are delighted with for himself and for your two sons' performances on Sunday. So that's why the lads were all out. Splendidly turned out on the white and blue. The white and blue. That's down to Daz blue white. Thank you very much, fellas. There were two other ladies here present. They have seemingly done a runner on us, and we now signed off from your cameraman Tommy Riley and your interviewer
Donald Riley from Lacken and Muller.
We say farewell.